system. From Iron Man, the counteroffensive begins. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 376 Riot. Da-da-da, bang, boom. Outside of Xia country, which is peaceful and has a strong festive atmosphere, the situation is far more complicated than what is shown on the news channel. In other words, every minute and every second, the number of protesters is increasing, especially the defection of the army, which actually means that the foreign government has completely lost control of the situation. Chaos, order collapse, existing social contradictions, and various fierce racial conflicts have all been infinitely magnified from this moment on. The government's failed policies and accumulated boundless anger have led to complete madness, violent conflicts, bloodshed, and unsatisfied people's needs. Except for Xia country, the blue planet is still dotted with stars and lights, and thousands of families live and work in peace and enjoy a peaceful and tranquil life. In other countries and regions, it is like a virus spreading, and darkness and fire are swallowing everything. Ding boss, world riots are inevitable. Shall we activate the 9 cauldrons plan? The starry sky at night was reflected directly into Luo Wen's eyes through the glass ceiling. When Kyan and her daughter on the second floor began to breathe more slowly, and they had obviously fallen asleep, Luo Wen also withdrew his super hearing perception, but before he could calm down and adjust his state to enter the cultivation mode, a spark reminder sound with a little emotional fluctuation suddenly rang out in the room. Did the senior government officials just send an emergency contact request? Luo Wen easily combined the information from Xinghuo's strange reaction and the TV news he accidentally glanced at when he went home to deduce the most likely scenario. Yes, they are very anxious over there. I see the boss has been busy, so I asked them to wait a moment. The 9 cauldrons plan comes from the legend of the 9 cauldrons of Shenzhou, which is a mythological story that the 9 cauldrons protect the fortune of the land of Shenzhou. In reality, this is why Luo Wen reached a cooperation with the senior officials of Xia State so early. Why were the first energy storage centers to be built released in different areas of the Xia State's border instead of starting from the developed areas of Xia State? It is precisely because the first batch of 9 energy storage centers not only contain carbon crystal batteries, but also giant spark reactors, which are more powerful than the energy core on the star battleship. Does this mean that the 9 energy storage centers can now be officially put into use? Yes, on the same day that the Spark automobile was released, the reactor modules that were secretly transported out have all been installed and debugged in place. Our nano-engineering robots have also arrived at the construction site of the second batch of energy storage centers and are continuing construction. For things like this, you just need to cooperate with them. Since it has come to this, let's activate the energy shield. Luo Wen always makes plans before he acts. Even if he officially starts to implement the plan, he has more than one plan prepared. Just like today's emergency, he has already considered this possibility before he is ready to join the game. Ninding plan, second home plan, wandering plan. Luo Wen has set up many such secret plans. Some of them are jointly formulated with the state, and some are top secrets that only Luo Wen will know, unless he has no other choice. Okay, the command has been confirmed. The priority of the intelligent core has been changed. Boss, good night. Yeah. The voice disappeared into the air, and Luo Wen also closed his eyes, sitting cross-legged and quietly entering the state of cultivation. As for the plan they just discussed casually, it was enough to affect the safety of the lives of more than 1 billion people. It seemed that for Luo Wen, he had already passed the process of being restless or nervous. On the contrary, it was easier for him to get along with the little girl Yaya, or feel that the world is worth it. If it weren't for Yaya, Luo Wen might have turned himself into a dark person, destroyed the world, and killed decisively since that time. These thoughts are always in Luo Wen's mind. It is precisely because of Yaya's kind character that Luo Wen is willing to contact those with the same character. It is also because of this that he feels pity for Ye's mother and is willing to help this mother and daughter who were originally completely unfamiliar. Luo Wen is sometimes very split. When he is good, he is like a white lotus. However, if he is not smooth, he will eliminate all uneasy factors, such as the previous Dragon Emperor and Ziyuan mother and daughter. Fortunately, the frequency of Raon's split state is not so high. At least when he is in the main world, Raon always sticks to his principles and bottom line, and is willing to give this world more trial and error opportunities. But, at 1 AM, an invisible energy standpoint, with the energy core buried deep underground in the energy storage center as the origin, is rapidly expanding outward like an energy wave perpendicular to the ground. Of course, this is only the view of the staff of the energy storage center. Under the quantum detector of the artificial intelligence Spark, it is a huge fan, or just a petal. As the energy cores in other locations were activated with special instructions, the 9 petals began to bloom together, and then close together, to form a complete spherical protective cover. Because it is invisible, ordinary people cannot see it. They can only feel a static field, or a breeze blowing. The 9 Cauldrons plan uses a huge energy protection field to block various attacks from outside the Xia kingdom, such as uncontrolled nuclear weapons. However, for ordinary people traveling on both sides of the border, they will not be affected at all. Even ships and airplanes have been scanned and identified in the database, allowing them to travel unimpeded without hitting an energy wall and being directly melted away. Report: the energy shielding field is running stably, and many coordinates have been detected to have illegal entry and smuggling personnel. In a magnificent secret military base, it is impossible to tell whether it is underground or in the belly of the mountain. Anyway, the people coming and going are all Xia soldiers in uniform, and all around are extremely solid metal walls, as well as various holographic projection screens and manual control consoles. Send the specific coordinates to the local border outpost in the name of the command center. Remember, we are top secret among top secrets. The geoding project is directly responsible to the highest level. You must take your responsibilities seriously. Wow. Yes, General. Beep, beep. A large yield nuclear weapon is detected. The target is within the territory of Xia. The collision time is 30 minutes. What? General, what should we do? Do we need to send fighters to intercept or prepare long-range missiles? No, the energy protection field provided by Spark technology is enough to deal with such a crisis. We just need to watch quietly. Remember, no matter what time, we must not change our face when the mountain collapses in front of us. The commander in charge, although his face was serious, his palms clenched unconsciously. However, the strength of the protection field has been tested before, and Spark technology is also a patriotic enterprise that is completely trustworthy. It's okay. It's okay. Even if the energy field is ineffective, using other interception weapons will cause panic among the people. We still have a chance to shoot down the invading nuclear weapons on our land. Stay calm, stay calm. The geoding project will never fail. Time was passing, and the staff in the entire base dared not breathe, staring at the satellite monitoring screen with open eyes. 20 minutes, 3,000 kilometers away, 10 minutes, 1,500 kilometers away, 1,000 kilometers, 500 kilometers. Dong dong, dong dong, closer, 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 and closer. It's no wonder that these people are extremely nervous. After all, flying in the sky is a nuclear weapon that has no solution at present. If it falls, it can easily take the lives of tens of millions of people. Although the geoding plan is reliable, countdown. 10, 9, 8, 1. Puff. The nuclear bomb with a tail flame suddenly came into contact with an invisible energy shield like a marshmallow. Although it is also soft, it is extremely tough and has not deformed at all. The next second, the sensor at the front end of the warhead was instantly activated and began to transmit the detonation signal. Although it did not reach the designated target, its detonator was automatically triggered, and there was no need for human remote control at all. Boom! The energy shield began to transfer energy to increase its strength to offset the huge power brought by this attack. In particular, it was not a passive defense, but formed a transparent channel in an instant, and then wrapped up the nuclear bomb. A loud bang was transmitted to the outside world's vision, but it was just a small firework under the night sky. This is located in the continuous mountains of the no man's land. There are only some wild animals looking up at the strange phenomenon in the sky with confusion. The energy shield, which stood still, was restored to its original state, as if it did not exist at all. It was just in the control room of the secret military base. Report to the general, the energy intensity of the shield has dropped by 100,000th. Do we need to replenish energy immediately? Damn, doesn't it mean that, unless it is attacked by 100,000 nuclear bombs at one time, it can break through the energy shield, and at the same time, otherwise the 9 energy cores can be fully charged within 1 hour, to form a new shield. That's a hydrogen bomb, the most powerful nuclear weapon attack method of human civilization, but the energy intensity has only dropped by 100,000th. Spark technology, has it really obtained the inheritance of alien civilization? Chapter 377 Unknown. The secret cooperation between Spark technology and the top leaders of Xia state is naturally unknown to the outside world. Just like the nuclear weapons launched from the west in the early hours of yesterday morning, no organization came out to claim responsibility, and the Xia government did not broadcast related reports on the news channel, nor did it issue a strong condemnation to the country of military base that lost control through the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Everyone acted as if nothing had happened. The Xia government continued to release selected foreign news, while in China, it was a beautiful scene of singing and dancing during the Spring Festival holiday. Knock knock, knock knock, uncle, uncle, someone is looking for you outside, are you up? At 7 o'clock in the morning, yeah, wearing a white short jacket and a pair of embroidered warm jeans, had already fluttered her 2 little feet to the door of Luo Wen's room on the 3rd floor, knocking on the door and shouting inside. When Kaiang, Luo Wu and Zhang Yu, who were downstairs, were in the pig pen in the backyard, half helping and half watching. Luo Deke had already killed 3 black-spotted pigs with Luo Wen's uncle and second uncle, and the 3 families had prepared bacon for the new year in advance. Now they were going to kill the remaining 2. This was to kill and eat them immediately. First, there were guests at Luo Wen's house, and second, there would be no shortage of guests at home during the spring festival, so they were sharpening their knives to kill the pigs and sheep. Before dawn, Luo Deke and his 3 brothers had already pulled the pigs to the chopping board. Some were pressing the pigs, some were holding the tails, and Luo Wu had been woken up to help. By the time when Kaiang and her daughter and Zhang Yu were woken up, the pigs had already bled out, and they were now shaving the pigs, waiting to gut them, cut the pork into different categories, and then put them in the empty refrigerator. Ye is a little kid, and Ren Gixiang sent her to find Luo Wen, but she was not allowed to go to the backyard. Perhaps this is the true interpretation of the relationship between generations. Luo Wen and Luo Wu had seen these bloody scenes when they were very young, but when they came to Ye, they were treated specially by the old man. Ah, let me go, let me go. Haha, uncle, why did you come out from behind me? Ye, who was picked up from behind, was giggling. Luo Wen, who had just finished his exercise outside, happened to see this little girl knocking on his door upstairs, so he came to tease her. Yeah, why did you get up so early? You don't have to go to kindergarten today, so why don't you sleep a little longer in your room? No, my mother said that children who sleep late will become little black pigs, and yeah can't become a little black pig. The pink little girl had a good smell of milk on her body. In Luo Wen's arms, she twisted and turned, like a boneless cotton ball, exuding a warm and pleasant feeling all over her body. Oh, so that's how it is. You just said someone was looking for me outside. Who was it? I don't know. He said it was my uncle's childhood friend, and asked me to call him Uncle Fu. He has gone to the back, to watch my grandfather and the others slaughter pigs. Uncle Fu. Everyone in the village has the surname Luo, except for one family with the surname Fu. I think it must be Fu Fan. Luo Wen is certainly not unfamiliar with him. After all, he is a childhood friend from the same village. It's just that he has been working in other provinces. Why did he come back so early this year? Migrant workers come back the day before New Year's Eve. Normally, they can't get home until New Year's Eve. Some even can't even buy tickets, and are forced to celebrate the new year in other places. This is why Luo Wen said that Fu Fan came back so early this year. It just so happens that, since he is back, I can discuss with him face to face about going to work in my company and say it directly. Oh, I see. Let's go and see if the big spotted pig has been slaughtered. Yeah, let's watch the pig being slaughtered. Let's watch the pig being slaughtered. The bloody scene can easily cause psychological discomfort, especially for children, which can easily leave a childhood shadow in their minds. However, it has basically been cleaned up. Luo Wen doesn't think there is anything wrong with letting a 4-year-old child watch this. This is a part of life experience. Good or bad, we should let it go. TSK, this pig is really fat. I'm afraid it's at least 300 pounds, right? A young man wearing a black woolen coat and only 175 centimeters tall, wearing glasses, has a faint cultural temperament, but he seems particularly kind and familiar with these scenes. That's right. If it doesn't grow meat, it will be fine if it eats well every day. By the way, Fancy, remember to call your parents to come over for lunch at noon. Using hot water and soap, Road washed his hands while talking to Fu Fan next to him. He looked much younger because of his inexplicable spirit. Fancy, why did you come back so early this year? Uncle, this uncle was looking for you just now. Yeah, covering her little hands, whispered in Luo Wen's ear, and her big black eyes kept turning around in the middle of the crowd. The pink pork and the pork that had been depilated and divided. The little girl was not afraid at all, but was enjoying it with relish, and was particularly fascinated. Wow, Wenzi, you've really changed a lot. You're getting more and more handsome. Haha, I'm unemployed, so I came back early this year. Unlike Luo Wen, who only went to high school, Fu Fan is 1 year older than Luo Wen and was admitted to a second-tier university. He has been working in personnel management in other provinces. I heard that he has been promoted to a small supervisor in the department. He also said that he would bring his girlfriend back to celebrate the Chinese New Year this year. Now it seems that the ending is not so happy. Well, it's good to come back. How are you? Are you planning to go out after the Chinese New Year? Oh, I'm afraid there won't be a suitable job outside. Besides, I came back to live with you, didn't I? Young people often don't want to let people around them know about their frustrations at work, but it depends on the situation. For example, Luo Wen and Fu Fan, who are optimistic by nature and know each other well, may have little contact after growing up, but as long as there is a need for help, they will definitely be obliged to help. Fu Fan looked at Luo Wen now and felt that he was right. He was still his childhood playmate, but his life situation was really different, which made people sigh. Haha, it's just right, so I don't have to go to you again. Have you eaten breakfast? Let's eat together at my house later. That's for sure. I'll eat the pig killing dish on the first day after returning. How could I miss it? The two talked about reunion after a long time, while Ren Gixiang, who was busy in the kitchen, and Luo Wen's two aunts, quickly drove Wen Kaiang and Zhang Yu aside to watch. Guests are guests. Besides, how can these jobs be left to the younger generation? They are not old enough to do it. The whole Luojia village, with the return of Fu Fan, this little village that no one cares about, has gradually become lively. Young people working outside, or children going to school outside, are all taken by their parents back to the place where their ancestors have lived for generations. Among them, most of them are low-income people who work as couples outside the village. They are also Luo Wen's brothers and sisters. Of course, the situation this year is a bit special. Some are unemployed like Fu Fan, and some are called back by the elderly in the village. Spark Technology is nearby, and the boss is Luo Wen, who is his own. Why go to other places to make a living? Isn't it better to ask Luo Wen for help and arrange to work in his company? The villagers are very simple, or the relationship between neighbors is very harmonious. It's not that they think Luo Wen must help them, but that Luo Wen should help them. Otherwise, why would they invite them to go to Quanqing Hot Spring Villa together? In fact, Luo Wen took the initiative to talk to his parents about this matter. As peers, they are naturally easier to speak up, and it also saves everyone from being embarrassed. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. we cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 378 Bustling Village. Luo Wen's family has become much more lively from being alone, before to 7 people now, especially after a little happy fruit, the cute and sensible Ye joined. Everyone not only has the joy of the new year, but also the satisfaction with life, and an additional sense of family warmth and happiness. Luo Wen's parents kept changing all kinds of food for their granddaughter. In fact, according to reason, since she is a goddaughter, she should call her grandma and grandpa. But Luo Wen's goduncle has become an uncle, and grandpa and grandma have become grandpa and grandma, which is normal. Buzz hello, what's wrong? I'm at home. Oh, okay, I'll come over now. Before the pig killing dishes in the kitchen were put on the table, Luo Wen and Fu Fan were also sitting in the living room eating snacks and chatting. At this time, Luo Wen suddenly received a call from a girl, whose voice could not stop the joy and excitement. Oh, sure, Wenzi, you are both a brother and a younger brother. Are you still going to show us your love? Besides the only secret that Luo Wen could not tell others, there was certainly no need for him to hide when he made a phone call in front of his childhood friend Fu Fan. And the brother and younger brother that Fu Fan mentioned probably referred to Zhang Yu and Wen Kaiang in the kitchen. After all, Fu Fan was still a little surprised by the appearance of these two strange women. Haha, you have to show us your love, right? It's your fault that you lost your partner. By the way, you won't turn love into hate and then become distorted and abnormal, right? Luo Wen looked around and he didn't know where Xiao Ye had gone. Just now, the grandson of his second uncle came back and the two of them ran away after a little yellow dog. And Luo Wu huddled next to Zhang Yu and he didn't know what they were whispering to each other. They hadn't finished talking when they slept together at night. TSK, I told you you're fat and you gasped. But seriously, you're the boss of a big company now, you're handsome, and your family is so well off. Why don't you have a girlfriend yet? Even Xiao Wu is getting married soon, and it's Labor Day, right? How come you, as the older brother, fall behind? Fu Fan couldn't help but feel confused. If it weren't for the company going bankrupt and the boss running away, he might have prepared to buy a house with a mortgage this year and then go to his girlfriend's house to pay New Year's greetings and discuss marriage. As a result, he lost his job, the house purchase was shelved, and the girlfriend thing was also cancelled. But Luo Wen is different. He has everything and lacks nothing. Moreover, there are beautiful young ladies looking for him everywhere at home and outside. How is it possible that he can't even find a girlfriend? As for the reason given by his parents when he came, that Wenzi is currently busy with his career and has no time to date, Fu Fan doesn't agree. It is because of busy work that he has the possibility of dating. Without a career, how can any good girl be willing to talk about marriage with you? Oh, I don't think I'm in such a hurry, at least not for the time being. Isn't it nice to have more fun when you're young? By the way, if you have nothing to do, come with me for a ride. I'll introduce you to some girls. The other girl specifically asked you to pick her up, so what's the matter with me going with her? I'm not taking her out. I still have to introduce you to each other when I come back. What's the difference? Could it be that you're a young man of your age and you're still shy? Fu Fan's personality is relatively law-abiding, or in other words, even when he has a girlfriend, he acts out of emotion, but stays within reason. He even blushes for a long time when holding hands. This time, being touched on by Luo Wen's soft spot, he was a little angry and embarrassed. Oh, gosh, this is intolerable. I'll go. I'm a single dog. I'm not afraid of anything. Hey, wait a minute, shy? That's not right. I remember that someone hasn't even had a girlfriend yet. You should be the one who is shy, right? Ahem. Luo Wen has undoubtedly shot himself in the foot. Seriously speaking, Luo Wen, a single dog, has been single for a much longer time than Fu Fan, who lives in the main world. Even though he has met people of different identities, status, appearance, figure, race, and skin color, Luo Wen, who has experienced a lot, still keeps himself clean, and is still a virgin. Okay, let's stop here. I'm going to pick someone up in town. We rarely see each other once a year. How about we buy some fireworks to liven up the night? Luo Wen began to change the subject. The long years passed in the blink of an eye. His interest and seriousness in the new year of the main world are obviously different from those in other worlds. He seems particularly enthusiastic. Okay, but let me make it clear first. You are a rich man and I don't have much money, so whoever has money should pay the bill. This was a consensus reached when they were young, and Luo Wen didn't care about it. Come on. How much are the fireworks in this town worth? If you have the guts, buy them all, and see if I will blink an eye. Whoosh, bang, the town is undoubtedly much more lively than the village. Vehicles and pedestrians are coming and going, with large and small bags, buying cigarettes, alcohol, candy, peanuts, melon seeds, beverages and other New Year goods in various wholesale stores. Both sides of the road are also filled with various small stalls, selling couplets, fruits, fireworks and firecrackers, and there are also fried and barbecue stalls that have not been seen for a long time. They have been pushed out again. It is obvious that they are planning to make some extra money while there are many people during the new year. Children, big and small, holding lighters in their hands, would throw firecrackers and whip firecrackers from time to time. Families, driving cars or riding three-wheeled electric vehicles, all had smiling faces and lingered in various stalls and wholesale stores. Men and women, old and young, all had happy expressions on their faces. The usual desolation and pressure of life are unlikely to appear on the streets in the near future. Whoosh, wow, a spark car, and a top-of-the-line version? Fuck, there are still such ruthless people in our town. Isn't it said that the appointment queue will take half a year? Are these the first lucky ones to buy a new car? TSK, are you stupid? Spark Technology is located over there in Kingland Lake. We are close to the water and the moon is first. Isn't it normal for someone to grab a spark car? However, the top-of-the-line version is priced at 1 million. This is obviously a rich person. The noisy streets became even more noisy and lively with the arrival of a dreamy floating car. Fufan, who was sitting in the car, also truly felt the attention of all the people. What a wonderful and exciting feeling. The car began to slow down and turned into an alley that seemed a little less crowded. However, this was only compared to the main street. Compared with Luo Wen's previous visit, it was undoubtedly two completely different scenes. Oh, a flying car. Wow, how can it fly? How about we use a rocket to blow it down? Luo Wen and Fufan both had black lines on their faces. These naughty kids hiding in the corner really have no taboos and can come up with all kinds of weird ideas. Chapter 379, 1-2. Before Luo Wen drove the car to the row of houses where Qiuya lived, one big and two small, not referring to adults and children, but simply in terms of temperament and figure. Qiuya was carrying a suitcase, looking around and talking to the two little girls beside her. It was probably because they were talking about something interesting, and the three of them showed beautiful smiles like flowers on their faces. Why are Yihan and Zhangqian here too? Oh, Luo Jie's car is here. Quickly restraining their happy expressions and their laughter just now, the three of them instantly turned into graceful ladies. Click, what are you two doing? Did you sneak out of the house again? Luo Wen couldn't help but doubt it. The last time he was scolded by someone's parents, Luo Wen didn't react at all, but later he founded a company and started to work hard in person. I'm afraid it was also because of this incident that induced him. Yihan and Zhangqian, who were standing next to Qiuya, couldn't help but blush with embarrassment. But soon they found that Luo Wen was smiling, and he was obviously teasing them about this matter. Oh, hate it, isn't this matter over? Luo Jie, why are you bringing it up again? That's right. Qiuya was wearing a tweed coat, tights and long leather boots, showing off her beautiful figure to the fullest. At this time, she just smiled and watched Luo Wen and the two little girls, making harmless and intimate jokes, just like a generous and mature woman, watching her boyfriend coaxing a child. Yihan and Zhangqian were dressed similarly, wearing a woolen hat on their heads, a short down jacket on their bodies, a pleated skirt on their lower body, flesh-colored thermal pants, and a pair of white sneakers on their feet. There were only some differences in the color and style of the clothes, and some details. Looking left and right, they looked like two close twin sisters. Don't worry, we are allowed to come out this time. We just need to go home before the night of New Year's Eve. Brother Luo, you won't ignore us and let us wander around like this? Yihan raised her wrist, looking confident that Luo Wen didn't believe it and would call back to confirm it in a minute. Zhang Qian, with her eyes wide open, clasped her hands in front of her chest with a cute and funny expression on her face. Well, after getting more and more familiar with each other, the shy and introverted little girl seemed to reveal her true nature. However, Zhang Qian, who was showing her true feelings and making a little funny, was also very cute and likable. Okay, I believe you guys, right? By the way, Fancy, this is Qiu Yap, this is Yihan, Zhang Qian, this is my childhood friend Fu Fan from the same village. He just came back yesterday at midnight, and he went to the street to buy fireworks. Haha, hello, nice to meet you. Oh, hello, brother Fu. Hello. After greeting each other, they were not shy, their interest was not diminished, and they shouted that they wanted to go together. It may be that they trust Luo Wen enough, or it may be that Fu Fan and Luo Wen are the same. Both of them are harmless. Anyway, Yihan and Zhang Qian hugged Luo Wen's arms and acted as if they had already regarded Luo Wen as their brother and themselves as their sisters. Fu Fan, who was stunned, could only sigh at this time. People are not as good as people, and goods are not worth comparing. Handsome men and beautiful women, a group of 5 people. Fortunately, Luo Wen did not find Zhao Ye thinking of buying fireworks to give her a surprise. Otherwise, with the 2 little sisters who suddenly appeared, they really couldn't fit in. Either they squeezed and overloaded, or they could only summon an empty car from home. At this time, pedestrians on the street were attracted by the demeanor of these young people. At first, everyone instinctively focused their attention on the 3 girls who got off the car. They were young, beautiful, and lovely. But then, they found something wrong. Oh my god, how can a man look better than a woman? No, why does this person look so familiar? It's Luo Wen. He is Luo Wen. Luo Wen, what Luo Wen? Fuck, it's Luo Wen. He really is Luo Wen. Luo Wen is Luo Wen. What's the fuss about? How come I've never heard of this name? Wang Mazi from Minquan Town. Go to hell, Wang Mazi. Luo Wen is the founder of Spark Technology, and others are the richest man in the world. At first, some people said he was a local, but I didn't believe it. It turned out to be true. Damn, I actually saw the world's richest man on the street. Mom, I finally made it. The crowd surged. Compared to the superstar, Luo Wen's halo was undoubtedly more dazzling, or in other words, in addition to his extraordinary temperament and handsome looks, these external manifestations, the world's richest man, the light of Zaya State, the founder of technology, all these halos are more practical and valuable than simply singing and dancing. No, there's no need to get so excited. I'm just here to go shopping and buy some fireworks to play with. Just do what you need to do. I'm not an alien. There's really nothing to watch. Luo Wen's embarrassment not only did not attract the attention of the 3 girls, but he secretly stood aside with an expression of I don't know him. I'm just an ordinary person watching the fun. Fu Fan was even more excessive. He didn't know where he got a bag of sugar cane from, handed one to each of the 3 girls, and then squatted on the ground, directly becoming an outsider watching the fun. Mr. Luo, take a photo with me. I want to set your photo as my screensaver. Mr. Luo, I'm your loyal fan. We are all from the same hometown. You have to cut in line for me and move my reservation number forward, okay? Luo Wen, do you have a girlfriend? My best friend and I are still single. Luo Wen's forehead was almost sweating with the chatter. He was a little caught off guard by everyone's enthusiasm. Maybe, because of the Chinese New Year, he ignored his current status change. Let's talk about friends later. You can take a photo. I can also add a number for you to make an appointment to pick up the car. If you have something to do, go and do it first. Don't gather here anymore. Just give me some face, okay? meditation art, with a wave of invisible spiritual power. Luo Wen's voice seemed to have the magic of relaxing people's mood and calming their emotions. And a verbal response to every request made everyone cheer and slowly calm down their extremely excited movements. Brother Luo, how does it feel to be chased by a crazy star? After finally carrying a few cartons and returning to the car in the roadside parking space, Luo Wen broke out in a cold sweat. The brother and sister who sold fireworks. The sister was actually Luo Wen's junior high school classmate, but she was married and had a little tail behind her. Zhang Juan's brother was very enthusiastic. Luo Wen added his reservation number to the list of cars to be picked up today. This undoubtedly helped him a lot and satisfied the young man Zhang Liang's eager New Year's wish. He was also his sister's junior high school classmate. He said that he would let Luo Wen take it for free, and even said that there was not enough here and his warehouse was nearby, so he drove over and moved it at will. He was very enthusiastic. Still laughing. When I was surrounded by people just now, you didn't help me, but why did you eat sugar cane and watch the fun? Wenzi, you can't blame them. I gave it to them. You are more photogenic than those celebrities and internet celebrities who dare not show their faces casually. Wait a minute, I will show your parents the video I recorded, so that they can be happy. What? You also recorded it? This is really a brother who adds insult to injury. Luo Wen, who had nothing to say, pretended to be indignant, letting the three girls in the car laugh uncontrollably, and Fu Fan, who was sitting in the co-pilot seat, simply turned his chair and shared the video he took with several people to compare and see who took the better angle. Hey, I still think that Wenzi's agile dodging when she was pounced on by those girls just now is more interesting. What do you think? Brother Fu, your angle is not good. I took a clear shot from this side. The girl with long hair was almost successful, but Brother Luo turned sideways and she almost lost her balance. Chapter 380, Lively New Year's Eve. Every day, a group of young people and a group of naughty children are jumping around in the village, never having a moment to spare. There is a wide and flat space at the entrance of Luo Wen's villa. They play badminton, skipping rubber ropes, and hopscotch from morning to dark. In the courtyard with a scene at every step, there are bamboo forests with rustling sounds and persimmon trees with fruits hanging on them. In the pavilion with plenty of light, Luo Deke and a group of older men like to play chess or fight landlords in it. In the fire pit in the middle of the grass, Rengixiang roasts sweet potatoes and rice cakes for Yaya, and also makes fried popcorn, which makes Yaya always have a black beard on her face. Yihan and Zhang Qian, two girls who grew up in the city, also cheer and scream. They are like chicken blood after getting up every day. Luo Wu helped Luo Wen clean the swimming pool a long time ago, and even turned on the electricity at night. The steaming hot swimming pool makes everyone feel what it means to enjoy the midsummer in Luojia village, which is not so cold to begin with. Karaoke rooms and esports rooms were full of young boys howling and screaming from morning till night, or a group of young sisters-in-law and Rengixiang were fighting. Even Luo Wen was in the competition room, playing several games of League of Legends with Luo Wu, Fu Fan, Zhang Yu, Yihan, and Zhang Qian. Luo Wen's family was different from the past. In addition to the sharp rise in popularity, all kinds of fun things appeared in an endless stream. The key was that Luo Deke and Rengixiang were always generous people. As long as they came to play at home, they would stay for dinner together. Good wine and good food were served. Sometimes Luo Wen had to show off his skills to prove that his mother was not bragging. When it was late at night, Luo Wen would hold a few cardboard boxes and lead a group of little radish heads to the door to create an atmosphere. It was not crackle, crackle, or chirp, bang, bang. The ones bought on the street that day were all gone, and later Luo Wu drove to buy another one. Uncle, come out quickly, stop watching TV, and accompany me to set off fireworks. On the night of New Year's Eve, thousands of houses were brightly lit, especially Luo Wen's house. The two villas above and below were lit up with dreamy little colored lights, just like the landscape buildings in the scenic area, which was particularly eye-catching. The hot living room looked particularly open and bright because of the hollow design. The key is that the building area of Luo Wen's house is also larger than that of ordinary people. So after a circle of naughty children sat on the carpet and a circle of adults sat on the sofa, it did not seem crowded. On the contrary, there were so many people that it was hot, and even the floor heating was turned off directly. Otherwise everyone would sweat profusely and wish they could wear short sleeves. Tonight, the elderly were all at home, staying up all night. Only some young people like Luo Wen's brothers and sisters-in-law or children came out. They sat in the living room, watching a wall-sized projection screen, which was showing a joyful party. Holographic projection can also be projected onto a flat surface, which seems to be self-explanatory. People like Yihan and Zhang seemed to be getting closer and closer to going home, so they sat in the living room obediently, not wanting to waste the good time of getting along harmoniously with such a big family. Only Ye, who was having fun, ran in and called her mother and Luo Wen. It seemed that no one was with her, or only one person was with her. Ye was not having fun. Oh, Oklahoma, come on, uncle will accompany you and mom to set off fireworks. Luo Wenming is obviously a middle-aged man in actual age, but because he does not look old and has a fast-forwarded experience in another world, or in other words, there has always been a little boy with a childlike innocence living in his heart. Hearing Ye's call, he had to turn around and walk out of the door from behind his parents' sofa. Qiu Yap, who was sitting next to Zhang Yuan close to Luo Wen's mother, could not help but shift her gaze from watching TV programs with the elderly to Luo Wen outside the door. Like this, mom, you are so timid. Uncle, please help. When Kaiang, who was squatting, had no longer felt strange after a few days of living here. Now she was wearing a pair of pink fluffy slippers and holding a candle for kindling, just like the biological daughter of Luo Wen's parents. When Luo Wen walked out of the door, he saw a beautiful back that made him daydream, with curves that were particularly tempting, and Ye, who was holding his left hand and shouting with excitement. At 10 o'clock in the evening, Ye had already fallen asleep in Luo Wen's father's arms. After all, she was too young, and she had played from early morning to late at night, so her physical and mental strength were already different from that of ordinary people. Luo Wen sat in the driver's seat and was helping Qiu Yan and the two little girls put their luggage into the trunk. Uncle, aunt, we don't want to leave here. Woo woo. Can we come here more often in the future? Yihan and Zhang, with tears in their eyes, didn't know why they were crying on a happy holiday, and they didn't know why they yearned for the unrestrained, lively and simple life in the village more than their own home. Of course, the villagers of Luojia village are warm and hospitable, and Luo Wen's family is rich in living materials, and they have everything they want. Especially Luo Deke and Rengixiang. They do not have the strict rules of a wealthy family, nor the bad temper of a wealthy family. They are like ordinary people, doing everything by themselves, working first and enjoying later. Good things that I have never experienced before must be made for these children to taste and try. There is also the blessing of the gathering spirit array arranged by Luo Wen. The environment is pleasant and the air is fresh. Luo Wen is also a person who is particularly good at taking care of others. What to eat, use, and play are all ingenious and impressive. As long as you live in and experience it, who would be willing to leave easily? Don't cry, don't cry. Come on, auntie likes you too. Here are the New Year Ed envelopes. Come on, take them. Come when you have time. I'll let Wenzi pick you up. Suddenly, Luo Wen acted like a sister and a younger sister, constantly leading them home. He clearly knew what kind of personality his mother had. She was soft-hearted and liked well-behaved and sensible girls. Obviously, this was also Luo Wen's intention. He wanted his mother to focus all her energy on these lovely little girls and not have time to mention that he wanted to get married and find a partner. What a good trick of moving flowers and trees, attacking the east while making a feint to the west. Rengixiang held 3 big red envelopes in her hand, as well as 3 red brocade boxes that Luo Wen had given her in advance. Inside were the protective jade talismans that Luo Wen had prepared. Luo Wen was a little worried that he would give them out himself, which would easily cause misunderstandings. This time, his mother gave them out on his behalf, so he didn't have to worry about it. As for Wen Kaiang, yeah, and Zhang Yu, they were not in a hurry to leave, so of course they could be given to them after 12 o'clock on the first day of the new year. We can't accept it. It's too expensive. Take it all. It's all made by Wenzi himself. It shouldn't be worth much. The gift is small, but the sentiment is great. Take it, quick. Pretending to be angry, Luo's mother stuffed the red envelopes and gift boxes on them without saying anything. In fact, it was unnecessary. When she said that Luo Wen made it himself, Qiuya had already changed her mind and took it at this time. Thank you, Auntie. Thank you, Auntie. Since someone took the lead in accepting the gifts, Yihan and Zhang didn't refuse anymore. Okay, I'm just sending you home. If you don't know, you're going abroad. When you're done with your family in a few days, you can come over and call me directly if you want. Haha, few people can really understand Luo Wen's mentality. Perhaps in his eyes, all these girls he knows are his sisters, who need to be treated with care and taken good care of, just like that innocent Yaya. Chapter 381. Good luck in the new year. Ding dong, buzz crackling, chirp, woo, pop. With the sound of the clock at midnight, the whole Luojia village was like daytime, with colorful fireworks all over the sky, just like the mood of the villagers at this time, brilliant and beautiful. Luo Wen's mobile phone, personal terminal, and other people's mobile phones, personal terminals, also received a lot of New Year greetings at the same time. Unlike before, it was either a group message or one or two intermittently. Now the status has made a qualitative leap. In addition to what Luo Wen wants to see, Xinghe always opens the firewall. Dozens of New Year greetings came in at once, and some private groups were even more lively. Luo Wen had to take a look at Yaya, who was awakened, and then whispered to Wen Kaiang and her daughter to rest early, and turned to go upstairs. There is a tradition of greeting each other for the new year in the village. You have to get up early, tidy up, put on new clothes, and put out cigarettes, tea, candy, and snacks. Happy New Year, Happy New Year, congratulations. The higher the status, the shorter the reply, and many people may not even know Luo Wen's contact number, so they can only worry. At least Luo Wen typed the New Year's greetings to everyone by hand, instead of letting Xinghe do it for him. This can be regarded as treating people with sincerity. Whoosh, wow, Wenzi sent out red envelopes. Everyone hurry up and grab them. Happy New Year, Mr. Luo, thank you for the red envelope. Oh, brother Luo has started to send out red envelopes again. Zixi, come out and grab them. Whoosh, Qiuya received your New Year's red envelope and became the lucky winner of this time. There are family groups and private groups. Luo Wen sent several big red envelopes in a row, according to the total number of group members. Some people got more than 1,000, while some people only got a few. The company group has a fixed number. As long as you click it, it is exactly the same 1,000 yuan. This time, Luo Wen sent out tens of millions again in a blink of an eye. He was a spendthrift and regarded money as dirt. Haha, Happy New Year. Xiao Wu will get married this year, and he will have a big fat boy next year. Wenzi should also hurry up. Haha, the same. Come on, eat candy, take more. At 6 o'clock in the morning, Rod opened the door of his house after setting off the fireworks and firecrackers to welcome the spring. And the house, that was a little messy last night, was cleaned up by someone and looked brand new. Luo thought it was Rengixiang. Rengixiang thought it was Zhang Yu and Wen Kaiang. And Zhang Yu and Wen Kaiang thought it was Luo Wen's parents. Anyway, no one would think it was Luo Wu or Luo Wen, but the fact is that Luo Wen, who got up early, cleaned it up. Or it can be said that a small magic is simple. Not long after the door opened, Fu Fan and his brother and parents came to pay New Year's greetings. This can be regarded as a village etiquette. Everyone in Luojia village has the surname Luo, and they still have to put on airs occasionally. Fu Fan and his brother Fu Cheng are both older bachelors. Maybe Luo Wen will soon join this group. After the Chinese New Year, he will be 26 years older. This is not bad. Anyway, everyone does not think that Luo Wen can't find a partner, but what kind of person does he want to find? Fu Fan is 27, and Fu Cheng is 29. The pressure on these two brothers is really great. Only someone like Luo Wu who is just in his early 20s can be considered normal to get engaged. However, Luo Wen promised to recruit everyone to work at Spark Technology after the new year. I believe this embarrassing situation will soon be improved. Uncle, aunt, happy new year, happy new year, Fancy, Chengzi, come and smoke, smoke, he said auspicious words, and walked out of the kitchen and the house. Luo Wen was wearing a black woolen coat, a pair of black trousers, and leather boots on his feet. With a handsome face and a simple and handsome short haircut, he was really handsome. It doesn't matter whether you smoke or not, you have to take it. Besides, the relationship between the big guys in the village is not estranged, and Luo Wen's family is not the kind of stingy style. It would be really rude for them not to take it. Haha, happy new year. I wish your company will grow bigger and bigger this year, and make more and more money. The custom of getting up early to pay New Year's greetings in the small village has been done every year since Luo Wen could remember, and Fu Fan's family had just left, and Luo Wu and Zhang Yu had just finished cleaning up from upstairs. Brother, Dad, Mom, Happy New Year. Yeah, Happy New Year. It seemed much more casual to pay New Year's greetings to one's own family, but also much warmer. Luo Deke and Ren Gixiang took out several large red envelopes from the inner pockets of their coats, and put one in Luo Wu, one in Zhang Yu, and one in Luo Wen's hand. The so-called gift from the elders cannot be refused. It is a tradition in every family. Thank you, Dad. Thank you, Mom. Thank you, Uncle. Thank you, Aunt. Oh, by the way, this is for you too. Thank you, big brother. On the first day of the new year, everything is new. The clothes are new, the home decoration is new, even the cash in the red envelopes is temporarily new, and the fragrance of chicken noodle soup is floating in the air, which is also the reason why Luo Wen was busy in the kitchen just now. Grandpa, Grandma, Happy New Year. Yeah, wishes you good health and all the best. With a plop, the little girl, wearing a festive little jacket and two pigtails on her head, with a rosy face and full of energy, knelt on the ground with joy, and wished the two old people a Happy New Year sweetly. Oh, whose little cutie is this? Get up, come here, this is the big red envelope that Grandma prepared for our year. Haha, Happy New Year, Godmother, Happy New Year, Godfather. Awen, Xiao, Happy New Year. Yes, sister, Happy New Year. Ren Gixiang, who was in a good mood, picked up little Yaya from the ground and stuffed a big red envelope into her hand. At the same time, Luo Deke took another big red envelope and two red brocade boxes from his body and handed them to Wen Kaiang. Luo Deke took Luo Wen, Luo Wu, and Zhang Yu. Little Yaya walked proudly on the cement road in the village, and her cheerful steps told of endless relief and joy. Ren Gixiang and Wen Kaiang stayed at home to entertain the guests. After all, there is no order of priority now. There are families passing by in the village at any time. They said Happy New Year to each other, and then went to each family to pay New Year's greetings. No matter whether the house is good or bad, or the New Year's gift is heavy, they must visit sincerely and say Happy New Year with enthusiasm. New daughters-in-law like Zhang Yu will receive red envelopes when they come to the door. This is a privilege that only underage children can enjoy. Yaya also has red envelopes. Although the size is different, it is a thought, and it is also to seek auspiciousness and the feeling of being valued. Just like Ren Gixiang at home, the children who come to pay New Year's greetings, or the new daughter-in-law, are not also sealed with a red envelope, and the amount is particularly large, with different relatives, 1,000 for the big one and 500 for the small one. Oh, uncle, I can't hold all the red envelopes in my hand anymore. Can you help me hold them? Haha. Yeah, are you calling me, or that big uncle, or let your uncle help you hold them? Luo Wu teased Yaya intentionally, and the little girl cleverly hid in Luo Wen's arms, shouting that she couldn't do it. The bulging clothes pockets were stuffed with all kinds of candies and snacks, and she even had a fruit lollipop in her mouth, just like a little rich man. I'm back. Yeah, come here. Grandma has added noodles to your bowl. Come and eat noodles. This is chicken soup noodles made by Uncle Wen himself. I want to eat. The village is not big, but the enthusiasm and festive atmosphere are particularly strong. Whether you go out or stay at home, You can personally feel the different customs from your hometown. The bowls and chopsticks on the table, as well as the fragrant noodles, also make people salivate and walk over eagerly. This is Xiago TV. I wish the people of the country good luck in the year of the ox, and all the best. Happy New Year. Haha, here's the first official announcement of the new year. From March 1st, the national electricity fee will be reduced to 0.1 yuan, and there will be no distinction between electricity types and time periods. At the same time, the water fee will be uniformly priced nationwide, temporarily at 1 yuan/m. The personal income tax threshold will be raised to an annual income of more than 120,000 yuan, and the income tax for private enterprises will be reduced to 10%. The progress of the ban on the sale of fuel vehicles will be accelerated, and a 10% subsidy will be provided to individuals and units that purchase spark cars. What is this? Oh my god, the country is going to make trouble. Didn't they replay the gala in previous years? Haha, good news. Great news. This is really a celebration for the whole country, and a good start to the new year. Chapter 382, Rapid Change. February 27th should be the day when Spark Technology notified its employees to return to work. Everyone return home with a lot of harvest. From the beginning of the year to the entire spring festival, they had a total of 23 days off. As a result, the 27th was another Saturday. Luo Wen just asked everyone to clean up, organize their workstations, and familiarize themselves with the new working environment. As a result, they were given red envelopes for the start of work, and notified that they could go home after work, and come back to work on Monday, March 1st. For the whole month of February, Spark Technology's employees only worked for 3 days, and it was the month with the highest salary. The New Year's gift from the Xia government to the people of the country is not just a few beautiful blessings, but also actual benefits. Water and electricity charges have been greatly reduced. There are subsidies for travel tools, and even the construction and guarantee of various infrastructure. These are all real benefits to the people. At the same time, Spark Technology began to set up direct sales centers in the remaining 34 provinces and cities in Xia, and began to recruit employees crazily. Let those workers who lost their jobs because of the Spark car or the Spark personal terminal turn a disaster into a blessing, and have the opportunity to work in a larger company with more security. A large number of production workers, or the lowest level laborers, are undergoing large-scale industrial transfers, whether they are civil servants or ordinary people. If we want to improve the efficiency of the entire society, we must not only start from a single aspect. Batches of Spark robots began to enter assembly lines and factories, and various high-quality industrial products were produced. Those who were replaced were sent to participate in vocational training in relevant institutions, and engage in more professional positions, or in other words, customized services, Chinese language programming programmers, public facilities maintenance, education, social welfare security, culture, sports, entertainment. Even within Spark Technology, the shift has been reduced from 8 hours to 6 hours. The difference of 2 hours is that all employees have to receive other professional skills training, such as space engineering, basic research, art appreciation, organizational management, space architecture, simulated driving, and command. Why don't you let us board the plane? We are Xia people. This is our passport, this is our identity certificate, and this is the ticket we bought with great difficulty. Why don't you let us board the plane? Xia is already a thriving scene. It is possible to break through the constraints of the blue planet, and fly to the Sea of Stars at any time. Of course, this is the far-sighted vision of people with lofty ambitions. In the eyes of ordinary people, life is rich, society is stable, various infrastructures are being built rapidly, and various social welfare guarantees are also enviable. Xia is now a land of the world, the safest country, that everyone yearns for. Those developed countries are already in chaos at this time. The ruling officials have stepped down, the government has been taken over by the military, and wartime martial law has been fully implemented. Backward areas or other developing countries are panicking at this time, like headless flies, not knowing what to do. The rich and powerful, with their families, are desperately trying to get out of the quagmire. Some are the top tycoons with their own private islands, or the nobles with old colonies. Most of them are rummaging through their boxes and cabinets, trying to find a way to return to Zaya country. Oh, sorry, Shirley Lee. The Zaya country government has cancelled your nationality. You are not a citizen of Zaya country now. This passport cannot allow you to travel to Zaya country. Please provide other valid documents. What? Wow. Oh no. Admiral Jack is ordering the arrest of people of color, saying that he will send us to concentration camps for unified management. Fuck, he is committing genocide. He is ignoring human rights. No. I want to leave this damn place. I want to go back to my own continent. I'm black. In the bustling airport, all kinds of people blocked the boarding gate, and on TV, a dignified white 5-star general was giving a national speech in order to quell the dissatisfaction of the domestic people. I, Jack J. Wilson, in the name of the interim president, will open military control for 1 month. All citizens can carry guns to defend their rights. We will also seek a dialogue channel as soon as possible to reopen Spark Technologies products to our territory. It's over. Is this a human removal plan to eliminate the current unstable situation? Isn't this fighting violence with violence, which is getting more and more out of control? However, now the international exchange rate has completely failed, and greenbacks are almost becoming waste paper. Will Spark Technology come back? No matter how the international community changes, it will not affect Xiaguo, because with the protection of the 9 cauldrons, there is no need to fear the threat of foreign forces. It may be the global industrial chain, import and export trade or immigration and study abroad, which directly disrupted the rhythm, leaving a small number of Xiaguo people at a loss as to how to adapt. However, the Xiaguo government has also set the next development direction and strived to seek more overseas natural resources. If possible, it can also appropriately select some high-end talents who have been investigated and release some naturalization quotas. Resources and population will be the foundation for the development of Xiaguo in the future. The Space Development Committee has been put on the agenda, and Spark Technology employees have also been appointed as technical officials in more departments. Many secret places have also started to break ground or use old solid facilities. Various technologies and buildings have been lit up. Only Luogia village after dark is still calm. The daytime design planners have left. Soon, they will carry out a comprehensive reconstruction and optimization of the entire Luogia village, based on the existing layout and the number of villagers. System. Open the personal panel. Host, Luo Wen race, human, level 1 technological civilization carbon-based creature. Abilities, strength 3500, ordinary person 1, agility 3500, ordinary person 1, stamina 3500, ordinary person 1, spirit 3500, ordinary person 1, May ocean magic divine consciousness, 20,000 meters, telekinesis, 200,000 tons, realm, nascent soul realm, May ocean orthodox. Law, talent, energy affinity, given by the system, life force. 3,000 years trading points. 80,700 points storage space. 256 meters. It seems that there is no change, but if you look closely, you will find that behind the note of human race, the level 0 technological civilization carbon-based creature has been transformed into a level 1 technological civilization. That's right, Luo Wen has shown the huge space underground of Spark Technology to some people, and the company's main senior executives also have confirmation and their own judgment in their hearts. Now the company and the country are completely bound together, and even Luo Wen has the title of Minister of the Development Committee. All the secret construction and measures are in preparation for further progress in the near future. The Blue Star civilization led by Zaya country will, in a very short time, rise to a true interstellar civilization, after crossing from level 0 to level 1, with its own space fleet, and a forward base for human colonization of outer space. Ding, the plane shuttle is about to begin. Please be ready. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Concentrating his mind, Luo Wen could only temporarily seal the many changes in the main world in his heart, put aside his infinite beautiful imagination of this world, gently closed his eyes, and waited for a new world to open. Chapter 383 Rebirth. What is this? Whoosh whoosh swish. choke. Luo Wen suddenly felt that he had changed, not in his soul or mind, but in his body. He seemed to be carried on someone's back, and there was a faint edge of weapons behind him. And waving his hands and feet in the shadowy light, he turned into a white and pink baby's limbs. Your uncle's system. How did I become a little devil? Wow. Luo Wen found that his divine consciousness could not extend out and could only be maintained within a 1 meter range around him. The key is that the sound coming out of his mouth also turned into a wow. What's going on? Am I unable to even speak? Ding. Release system tasks. Experience the plot. Time requirement 30 years. No task difficulty. No punishment. Notes. Limit all abilities for 1 day. Damn. What do you mean by experience the plot for 30 years? And what do you mean by limit the ability for 1 day? Is this making it impossible for me to curse and experience the plot? What plot to experience? Can you give me a hint? Well, since we are here, we should make the best of it. Fortunately, all abilities are only temporarily restricted for 1 day, not forever. Luo Wen, who has seen a lot, no longer makes a fuss, but lies quietly in this small bamboo basket space. Unlike before, as an adult, and a superhuman with spiritual cultivation and physical fitness, Luo Wen now only feels extremely weak and powerless, and the closure of various body sensory organs, as well as the faint oppression in the sea of consciousness, make him feel like he is in the deep sea of 10,000 meters, and endless pressure comes without a gap. Luo Wen only has a clear brain, and still maintains a high-speed thinking. Use the remaining 1 meter of divine perception to strengthen his baby-like body functions, and try to collect all the available information around. Puff, puff, swish, swish. The man carrying him seemed to be being chased by someone. The sound of the wind and the vibrations in his body seemed to indicate that he was very agile, and the arrows that flew past the bamboo baskets were full of murderous intent. Luo Wen had experienced many different worlds, and had personally experienced the test of life and death. In addition, he had always been diligent, and never slacked off, so his will had long been extremely strong. He did not care about these deadly weapons that were so close to him, but he felt a vague sense of familiarity. He always felt that this opening was like a soul-traveling drama that he had watched a few episodes of. Could it be? Where is the young lady? A hoarse male voice came from outside the bamboo basket. I rushed back, but it was too late. People in the whole city were trying to kill her. There was no emotion, just like a heartless robot. His low magnetic voice revealed a faint sense of grief and indignation. A cold and murderous aura was all over the surroundings. If you raise your vision, you can see that on a cliff with strange peaks and steep mountains, a man dressed in ancient costume with a bamboo basket in one hand and an iron sword in the other, is facing a group of elite soldiers in black clothes and armor with vigilance. He is a blind man, but he seems to have a telepathy that can sense and see everything in front of him. On the creaking wheelchair sits a middle-aged man with a white face and no beard, and a frosty face. Yes, this is the world of the time travel drama celebrating Yunnan. Quick, let me see. Is it the young lady's child? Yes. Is it alive? Alive. The mysterious swordsman holding the bamboo basket gently placed the baby in his hand. Luo Wen, who looked speechless, on the ground, and opened the lid of the bamboo basket. Damn time travel drama. Time travel is fine, but why did you turn me into a baby and let people see everything? Damn. The pink and tender baby looked particularly cute at this time, dancing, and not only was he not scared by the strange environment outside, but his eyes revealed wisdom, and he seemed very smart and precocious. Well, it's worthy of being the young lady's child. It's different. Swish, snap. The middle-aged man seemed to want to take action and take a closer look, but was stopped by the mysterious swordsman, and Luo Wen, who was cursing, had his eyes darkened, and was locked in the bamboo basket again. Damn you, I'm Luo Wen. Go to your sister's young lady. Wait, where are you taking him? A safe place. Familiar opening remarks, familiar opening plot, but Luo Wen had only watched the first 2 episodes, when he was free. What young lady, what blindfolded swordsman, and this half-crippled Chen Pingping? He didn't want to know what earth-shattering secrets were hidden behind them. He just wanted 1 day to pass quickly and then regain control of his body. At that time, no matter what conspiracy or plot reversal, Luo Wen only needed to break it with force and defeat all methods with one person. Wu Zhu, the mysterious swordsman that Luo Wen was forced to follow at this time, was now following Chen Pingping's instructions and heading to Danzhou, thousands of miles away. And there, that is Luo Wen's future home, a place that was originally taken in by Fan Zion, where they lived together as childhood friends and met their mentor, but now, it has been taken by the system and replaced with Luo Wen's world of travel. Brother Fan Zion, go play with Ruoro on the street. You've been making these things for quite some time. They are meaningless. Humph. The deep nostalgia in the childish voice made Luo Wen not angry at all. If Luo Wen hadn't seen the shadow of year in this delicate little girl, how could he have been so kind to tease her every day? At this time, Fan Zion, that is, the name Luo Wen was given by the old lady of the Fan Mansion, was sitting quietly in the study. In addition to the bookshelves and ancient books on both sides, there were more gadgets made by Luo Wen, such as quartz clocks, or magnetic induction coils, and various ingenious gadgets. A handsome and calm little kid, more like an old man, calm but unusually unfathomable. There was also Fan Ruoro, who was holding a wooden sculpture that looked just like hers. Her face was red as she pulled her brother Fan Zion, and acted like a spoiled child. Brother Fan Zion was amazing. He could speak and read before he was a month old. Everyone in the mansion, whether it was her grandmother, the fierce housekeeper, or the adult servants, admired and loved brother Fan Zion. The key point was that, since the day Fan Ruoro came to Danzhou, this brother Fan Zion, who knew everything, had endless new toys, all kinds of food, and told fairy tales every night, treated her better than anyone else, and could fulfill any wish. Of course, she liked it. 5 years passed in a flash. Wu Zhu rented a grocery store outside the Fan Mansion, made some handmade items by himself, and protected Fan Zion in secret. Unfortunately, Fan Zion at this time was no longer the original Fan Zion. Wu Zhu sometimes doubted that, even if the young lady was resurrected, she would not be better than this little 5-year-old child. Regardless of his knowledge, experience, learning, or even practical ability, Wu Zhu's only confident martial arts was shocked by his eyes, and he was almost crushed into powder by his huge pressure. Okay, let's make a deal first. You can go out to play, but you must go back home with me at lunchtime, otherwise grandma will worry again. Yeah, that's great, brother Fan Zion. I want to eat candied haws and go to the stream to watch you skip stones, and I also want you to help me braid a beautiful hair flower. Luo Wen put down the metal plate in his hand. He originally thought that he could carve a micron level circuit board by hand. As a result, this little girl pestered him every day, looking for him to play during the day and climbing into his bed at night, sleeping in the same bed with him, which made him unable to concentrate on his practice. He always had to tell her a bedtime story and coax her to sleep before he could sit cross-legged and meditate. Now it seems that it is better to give up and accompany this annoying little girl to spend her last happy time. The time should be about the same. Fan Ruoro's biological father in Kyoto has sent a letter home, and her grandmother will probably arrange for her to go back in the next 1 or 2 days. After she leaves, Luo Wen can continue his actions quietly. By the way, Luo Wen has accepted the title of Fan Zion, and lives in the Fan Mansion with peace of mind, becoming the young master in the eyes of the people. The kind old grandmother makes up for the grandmother image that Luo Wen has been missing since childhood. Although Luo Wen was somewhat disdainful of Wu Zhu, he was still full of gratitude and respect for this old woman who treated him like her own grandson. He even regarded her as his first closest relative in this world. In addition to making small gifts for her from time to time, he also used a combination of spiritual power and medicinal materials to regulate her body when making all kinds of novel delicacies. If nothing unexpected happened, it would be no problem for the old woman to live for a few more decades. At least before Luo Wen left this world, the old woman would be in good health and call him Zina. Chapter 384, Replacement Life. Whoa, I don't want to. I want to stay here. I want brother Fan Zion. No matter how poor and weak Fan Ruoro cried, no matter how her face flushed and she looked, so sad that she couldn't breathe. Old Madame Fan was the real head of the family, and no one in the Fan mansion dared to disobey her words, unless it was Diana, who looked calm and behaved unusually quietly. Maybe if he asked for help, the old lady would reconsider. Brother Fan Zion, please help me, begged Grandma. I don't want to leave. I want to stay here and play with you. Okay, don't cry. If you keep crying, you will be a big cat. If you do, you will not be pretty. Grandma asked you to go back to Kyoto. It must be for your own good. In the future, I will ask someone to send you a gift made by me during the holidays. Maybe when we grow up, we will see each other. It's better to go home quickly, you little troublemaker. Luo Wen was actually a little reluctant to let you go, but the innocent childhood sweethearts may become childhood sweethearts in the end. After all, Fan Zion has no blood relationship with the Fan family, and it is even more impossible for him, Luo Wen, to have any blood relationship with this little girl. Luo Wen now looks just like himself when he was a child, but his appearance is more delicate and handsome, and his skin and figure are also healthier and well developed. Oh, really? She choked up, tears and snot mixed together on her face. I don't know if it's because of Luo Wen's care. The little girl's skin is pink and tender, and her natural facial features are beautiful, which makes her even more lovely and attractive. Anyway, this crying look doesn't make people feel disgusted, but only pity. I promised you something, and I will never regret it. I will definitely do what I said. This box is a music box I made. You can take it with you to relieve your boredom on the road. Well, okay. Ruoro believes brother Fan Zion. He, after getting the guarantee and the gift to comfort her, Fan Ruoro, who was crying miserably, burst into laughter, and her cute little face immediately became as smiling as a flower. Fan Zion lived in the Fan mansion in the name of the illegitimate son of the master of the Fan family. He had no status, and would not be included in the genealogy of the Fan family. To be honest, in this feudal ancient society, Fan Zion's status might not even be comparable to that of the housekeeper of the Fan mansion, let alone Fan Ruoro, the legitimate daughter. But who made Fan Zion replaced by Luo Wen with his soul and body? The day after Luo Wen's ability restrictions were lifted, Wu Zhu was taking him to Danzhou. At that time, he was lying in a bamboo basket, thinking whether to make his position clear and become a wild child in the world. Anyway, the rewards for system tasks that are not difficult are generally not very good, not to mention that there is no penalty for failure. After 30 years of plot experience, he has to be the grandson of the Fan family and inherit the grievances and hatreds of Fan Zion. Luo Wen, who thinks is an adult, is somewhat embarrassed. Luo Wen actually hesitated, but in order to experience the replacement life specially arranged by the system, he finally chose to let it go. As a bystander, he came to the Fan mansion in Danzhou and slowly substituted into the role of Fan Zion. There is only one thing Luo Wen knows very well in his heart: who he is. He does not have a soul in this world, and he has no blood relationship with anyone. If it really comes to the stage of blood recognition, it is probably because the system has made optimization adjustments to make certain settings suitable for Luo Wen's current situation. Fan Ruoro left the Fan mansion, and this deep mansion in Harbor City returned to the tranquility and peaceful atmosphere of the past. In addition to locking himself in the study to study strange things on weekdays, Luo Wen would personally cook a health meal for the old man at mealtime, and occasionally make some delicious food to satisfy the greedy maids and servants. Luo Wen had memorized the ancient books in the study in just a few days. The housekeeper had also searched all over Danzhou bookstore, but there were no new books on the market, and he could not find other rare books or translated versions. He could only wait for his young master to take time out of his busy schedule to show everyone some new things to relieve boredom and broaden their horizons. Late one night, Papa, a fat man in black and masked was flying over the walls of Fan Mansion. Wu Zhu was awakened from his bed by the sound. He wanted to go and find out what was going on, but when he thought of Fan Zion's terrifying and mysterious ability, he turned around and lay down helplessly. Every night when it was quiet, Luo Wen would not fall asleep like ordinary people, but sit cross-legged on the bed with his hands in a seal, and his divine sense surrounding him extended to a radius of 100 meters. paying attention to any abnormal movement in the outside world. Even if this world was only a low-level martial arts world, Luo Wen was still alert at all times. The moment the black-clothed masked man stepped into the wall of Fanned Mansion, he had already opened his eyes, and the pure golden light in his eyes flashed by. Luo Wen, whose aura became deeper and deeper, seemed to have made further progress in his cultivation. This is the so-called plot development. Is this the beginning of the apprenticeship branch? System. Open the personal panel. Host, Luo Wen race, human, level 1 technological civilization carbon-based creature. Abilities, strength 10,000, ordinary person 1, agility 10,000, ordinary person 1, stamina 10,000. Ordinary person 1, spirit 10,000, ordinary person 1, May ocean magic divine consciousness, 50 kilometers, telekinesis, 2 million tons, realm, out of body period, May ocean orthodox law, talent. Energy affinity, given by the system, life force. 10,000 years trading points. 80,700 points storage space. 256 meters. A dignified monk, stranded here, his body turned into a child. Although it has lost a lot of deterrence, Luo Wen did not feel that uncomfortable, just like he was rejuvenated and started over. And the black-clothed masked man who thought he was unnoticed by God and ghosts did not know that the Fanzion he was about to face was a terrifying person who could destroy the whole world alone. Creaking, the door was gently pushed open by the visitor. When he took advantage of the winter night and walked in quietly, "Hiss you, what's wrong with you? Did you know I was coming?" The visitor was surprised. Even though he was covered with a black scarf, he still couldn't hide his surprise. "Oh, it's not that I knew you were coming, but I saw you coming." What does it mean? The child sitting on the bed has no trace of surprise or nervousness in his clear eyes. Is this amazing enough? And suddenly a strange word came out mysteriously. What does this mean? With the moonlight, the child's handsome face seemed to have a bright luster that was very eye-catching, especially the deep sea in his eyes, with stars flowing, which made people very suspicious. Is the person sitting here a child of only a few years old, or a hermit who is devoted to practice? You said you could see me coming through the walls, doors and windows? Enough of small talk. Since you have no intention of killing me, I will not pursue your uninvited entry. At this moment, the masked man in black knew that his infiltration and reconnaissance operation had completely failed. He was even more frightened by the eyes in front of him that could see through people's hearts, and he vaguely felt that a terrifying aura was gradually gathering, and the target was the pretty little boy in front of him who looked harmless. "My name is Fei. I'm from the Kyoto Inspection Institute and the head of the 3rd Division. Nice to meet you, young Master Fanzun. Please forgive me for offending you. It's rude of me to disturb you so late at night. But, you're just a little kid. Why aren't you curious about my identity or afraid? Why did you come? Of course it's for me. You can tell me your purpose, even if I don't ask. Otherwise, why would you chat with me about these gossips? What do you think, Head Fei?" Oh my god, this is not precocious intelligence, it's simply that she is so smart that she is almost a demon, and she is completely like a wise man and a counselor. Me. No need to say more. After dawn, just go and tell the mistress of the Fan family. It's late at night, and you are not suitable to stay in my room any longer. Luo Wen said no more, and closed his eyes quietly. Although Fei was ordered to leave by the child, he didn't feel anything wrong. Instead, he bowed slightly, turned around and left, after being frightened by today's situation. As for what he would feel after leaving here, what does this have to do with Luo Wen at this moment? Let Fei figure it out on his own. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 385. Fei. I'm Fei, your humble servant, and I'm here to pay my respects to Master Wu. It's been many years since we last met, but you're still as handsome and charming as ever. I admire you so much. No need to give me compliments. You've come all the way to this dilapidated place. You must be here, not just to see me, right? When the day dawned, Fei-ji did not go directly to the fan mansion, but came to the Wazoo grocery store, which had opened for business early. For the Inspection Institute, which had spies all over the world, the true whereabouts of Wazoo and Fan Zion had never been a secret. However, many changes beyond their understanding occurred. Yi Qingmei was such a talented person in the past. The yeast trading company she founded was well known all over the world. The daily amount of funds was so huge, and the goods sold were rare in the world. Otherwise, how could the weak and poor Qing kingdom suddenly become rich and powerful, and even its military strength surpass that of Qi? It's a pity that Yi Qingmei, a genius of her generation, died in Kyoto due to difficult childbirth. The yeast trading company she founded was also nationalized by Emperor Qing, changed to inner treasury, and handed over to the eldest princess to manage. The annual profit was enough to move everyone and make them greedy. The good times didn't last long. 3 years ago, a mysterious organization called Xinhua Fang began to appear in Dancehao City. It was said to be from the overseas continent. Every manager was a young boy. Not only did they have a business method far beyond that of ordinary people, but the goods they sold were also better and more exquisite. In just 2 years, the branches of Xinhua Fang have spread all over the cities of Qing. The income of the inner treasury plummeted from tens of millions a year to less than 10 million today, more than halved. Whether it was the wealthy merchants in Qing or the Qing Inspection Institute, they still couldn't figure out the specific details of this Xinhua Fang. It operated legally and paid taxes as usual. In addition to those young store managers with terrifying strength, including the Emperor of Qing, they had to endure their temper. Unless they had no choice or were really threatened. He didn't want to rashly use the power of the country to oppress illegal business in the country. However, tolerance is tolerance, and the necessary preparations must be made. In addition to sending more intensive and excellent spies to Dancehao in the hope of collecting useful intelligence, the Inspection Institute also sent Fei-ji, the head of the 3 departments, who was entrusted by Chen Pingping and Fan Jian, for this matter. As for coming to teach Fan Zion skills, it was just a random excuse. 5th Master, you have lived in Dancehao for several years. I believe you must have the deepest understanding of the forces in the city and that young Master Fan Zion. I wonder if you can help me solve some of my doubts? Fei-ji, with his hands clasped and his beard stubbled, still looked like a sloppy person, even if he changed into a casual suit. However, these were not important to Wu Zhu. He felt the sincerity of the other party, and it was okay to tell Fei-ji some news. After all, in the past 5 years, he saw that Fan Zion was different from ordinary people, and he really needed someone to help him analyze it. One person's plan is short, and 2 people's plan is long. Fei-ji can be regarded as a trustworthy person for the time being, right? I can't help you with the spark shop you want to ask about. I can't get into their valley workshop outside the city. The guys and managers at the port are just ordinary people who don't know anything. Only when a large number of goods are transported out, a group of unfathomable guards will appear. However, I have tried it. Lord Fei had better not try it easily. Wu Zhu told the information expressionlessly while taking off his shirt. His strong and solid muscles were like the work of a ghost, and on his smooth chest, there was a sword wound that was deep enough to see the bone. Who is it? Who can leave a wound on Lord Wu Zhu who is on par with the 4 great masters? Could it be that? Is this the true strength of the guards of the Spark Shop? I can feel that the leader didn't intend to kill me at that time. Otherwise, what you see now might just be a corpse. Not killing, but showing mercy. Damn. Why is this happening? Then, as for Fan Zion, he seemed to have awakened some kind of magical and terrifying power after I left Kyoto. I haven't been close to him for a long time. Even the domineering true energy passed down by the young lady was crushed into powder by him. As his body grew, Fan Zion rarely had close contact with people, except the old lady of the Fan Mansion. He locked himself in his own small courtyard every day, making various tools and instruments. In short, he is better than the young lady. Without waiting for Fei-ji to ask, Wu Zhu had already spilled the beans, telling him everything he had experienced and his judgments. I don't know if it was a kind reminder or a confession of the confusion in his heart. No way. He is a little 5-year-old child, but it is possible that he is better than that person. How is this possible? It's not possible. I'm talking about now. Fan Zion has far surpassed the young lady at her peak. I doubt him, but forget it. I'm not sure about this matter, so I won't say it. The shock in his heart was beyond words. Fei-ji didn't know how he walked into the fan mansion. It was not until the doorman asked him the purpose of his visit that Fei-ji's mind became clear. He quickly took out the visiting card in the letter from Fan Jian, the head of the Fan family. What he saw and heard in Dan's how far exceeded his expectations. Now he only hoped that the mistress of the Fan family could make it convenient for him to have a legitimate reason to stay here. Or, in other words, as the host of the Inspection Institute, he could determine whether there was any connection between Xinghua Fang and Fan Zion with his intuition and professional judgment. He only hoped that the speculation that Master Wazoo hesitated to speak was just an unfounded speculation, not the fact. Oh, it turns out that you are the person sent back by my master. Please come in. I will go and inform the old lady. Haha, sorry to bother you, Housekeeper Zhao. Of course. Please follow me. In the original plot, Housekeeper Zhao was arrogant and domineering, and he took chicken feathers as his authority. Except for the old lady of the Fan Mansion, he could be said to be deceiving his superiors and subordinates, and he didn't take anyone seriously. He treated servants and maids with beatings and scolding. But since Luo Wen appeared in the Fan Mansion, this Housekeeper Zhao has become a different person. He always remembers the admonition to be low-key and treat people gently. At that time, the casual palm of his young master was really stone-shattering. The whole rockery was smashed into powder, and the dust fell all over him. At that time, Housekeeper Zhao was directly scared to death. Frowning slightly, the dignified old lady Fan looked at the letter in her hand, as if she had some thoughts that she didn't quite understand, and at this time in the reception room, in addition to the kneeling old lady Fan, there was also a little maid who was making tea on the side, and the other one was Luo Wen who was sitting cross-legged quietly. On the table in front of him, there was only a cup of steaming tea. In the eyes of old lady Fan, this child has been very different since he was a child. Not noisy, sensible and filial, resourceful, and all kinds of behaviors and actions have made everyone in the mansion admire him. Just like today, the originally strict old lady Fan. If it was Fan Ruoro sitting like this, casual and without rules, she would definitely reprimand her seriously. But when it came to Luo Wen, she was full of kindness and love, and didn't mean to blame him at all. As for the fact that little Fan Zion liked to drink the tea that he made himself, Madam Fan did not say much and just let it go. Mr. Fei, since you are the teacher sent by my son, may I know what you know and how you plan to teach my Ziona? Madam Fan tried to suppress her dislike for the unkempt Fei-ji, but it was only because he brought a letter from home. Madam Fan was puzzled when she read the letter just now, because she had written to her son in Kyoto, saying that Ziona was well informed, intelligent, and had natural abilities that were rare in the world. Why did she send him a teacher? Did he not believe what I, as a mother, said, or did he not believe that Ziona was extremely talented and could do it naturally? I know a little about civil and military strategies, but I wonder what the old lady wants. Grandma, let him stay. Since it's my father's good intention, I also have a lot of things to do. I want to ask Mr. Fei-ji, who came all the way from Kyoto. Oh, no, it should be Mr. Fei. Fan Zion was so rude just now. I hope the teacher won't blame me. I apologize to you. After saying that, Luo Wen really stood up from the cushion, straightened his clothes, folded his hands and bowed slightly. No, I dare not. Master Fan Zion is really too polite. Fei-ji jumped aside quickly, but he didn't dare to accept it calmly. The shock he suffered in the room yesterday had not subsided yet, and Wu Zhu spoke to him cautiously in the morning. How dare he look down on the child in front of him again? Besides, although old Madam Fan is the mistress of the Fan Mansion and the one who makes the decisions on the surface, but when it comes to Fan Zion, she looks like she is listening to the opinions of this little guy seriously. It's not just doting on him, but respect and attention from the bottom of her heart. Isn't this too incredible? Oh, since my Ziona asked you to stay, then you can stay in the Fan Mansion. Butler Zhao, go to the west courtyard to arrange a yard for you and send a few servants and maids to serve you. Old Madame Fan waved her hand and began to give orders. Sure enough, Fei Ji was not wrong. The person who can really make the final decision in this family is Fan Zion, rather than the mistress, Old Madame Fan. In that case, Fei would like to thank Old Madame Fan and young Master Fan Zion for taking me in. Chapter 386, talking about the Dao. Winter has gone, and spring has come. Danzhou, with its distinct 4 seasons, has also shed its silvery white clothes. The uncomfortable cold wave has disappeared. The sky is full of stars, insects are chirping, frogs are croaking, grass is growing, and warblers are flying. The entire Fan mansion is also wearing light gauze and short coats, entering the hot summer. Gurgle, ha, it's so enjoyable, it's so enjoyable. In the small courtyard, where Luo Wen is, there is a gurgling stream and a pavilion with a rockery and lotus pond. Fei Ji is drinking the iced sour plum soup made by Luo Wen. The 2 nominal masters and apprentices can be said to get along well, and have a much closer relationship. Pa, put down the exquisite porcelain bowl in your hand. Every time you see the exquisite patterns on it, and the delicate mirror-like feel, it really makes people like it. Fei Ji has been here for half a year, and he is already familiar with the mansion. Whether it is Fan Zion's small courtyard or the streets and markets in Danzhou City, he has already known them clearly. Teacher, do you need another cup? After half a year of growth, Luo Wen has grown to 1.4 meters tall, a handsome young man, which is surprising. After all, he is less than 6 years old. What remains unchanged is that impressive handsome face, as if the proportions are enlarged, without any change. Those clear and deep eyes that can see into people's hearts still make people dare not look at them easily. No, this thing freezes people's hearts, and drinking it makes people feel cold from head to toe. A cup is enough to dispel summer heat and reduce fire. If there is more, my old bones can't bear it. Haha. Fei Ji looked at the little adult in front of him. No. It was the beloved disciple Fan Zion who was so wise that he was almost a demon, and he always had the illusion of talking to a hermit master. He was also full of emotion, and his heart was full of admiration and love for him from the bottom of his heart. He didn't dare to treat him as a child a long time ago. Sitting and talking about astronomy and geography, music, chess, calligraphy and painting, industry, agriculture, scholars and merchants, the general situation of the world, literary and military strategies, all of which are profound and enlightening. To be honest, Fei Ji should seriously call this child sir. After all, who is learning from whom, and who is solving puzzles for whom? Everyone in the mansion can easily see it at a glance. The sunset is infinitely beautiful. Luo Wen's courtyard is not like other places in the mansion. It is either taken care of by servants or empty and lifeless. He has lived here from beginning to end, and he takes care of himself. Only here can all servants and maids feel a special treatment called born equal. Not only do they not feel the grievance of being bossed around by others, but they only have the respect of being treated equally by Master Fan Zion. The master not only does not need people to serve him, but in fact many people want to come from the bottom of their hearts, but unfortunately they don't have such an opportunity. Moreover, Master Fan Zion would often cook some food and make some tools and daily necessities to give to them, so that their life in the mansion could be more pleasant and relaxed. Master, I have some words buried in my heart for a long time. Since I have nothing to do today, I wonder if you can answer one or two for me. It was hard for Fei Ji to hold it in for so long, and now he finally had to speak out. Luo Wen poured himself a glass of cold drink and took a sip lightly, looking calm and unhurried. Oh, teacher, just ask. After getting along for a long time, this old man who was nearly 50 years old gradually gained Luo Wen's recognition. Since he had decided to experience the plot world, he naturally adhered to his current identity and calmly considered the problem from Fan Zion's perspective. Young master, have you never doubted your own life experience? Or have you ever thought about why you have a blindfolded personal bodyguard by your side? Well, although Lord Wu Zhu himself admitted that he was no match for young Master Fan Zion, given his mature intelligence at a young age, he should not have no idea about these things, right? Are you trying to say that I'm not the illegitimate child of the Fan family? That blindfolded swordsman named Wazoo, whose strength is comparable to the 4 great masters in the world, is willing to hide his identity and guard the small grocery store outside the fan mansion to protect my safety? Hiss, you already know. Do you already know all the secrets? No, I don't know. I only know that it was Wazoo who brought me to the Fan family and gave me the name Fanzun. Who am I a descendant of? Who are my parents? And who is involved in my life experience? I don't really care. But if people knew that their life experience is a mystery, that they are different from other people, and that they don't have their parents' company, shouldn't they doubt and think more? Fei was stunned, with a look of confusion on his face. This seemed to be beyond his expectations again. The world is bustling for profit, and the world is bustling for profit. What people seek is nothing more than the 3 desires of power, fame, and money. Does it matter who I am, where I come from, and where I'm going? I have a stable life in a wealthy family, with many servants and a rich life. Am I Fanzan? Whose child am I? Whose legacy do I need to inherit? You may mind, the person behind you may mind, and many big shots may also mind. However, people are chess pieces, and can never become the one who plays the chess. What do you think, teacher? This. But master, although you are indifferent, and have no desires, people in the world don't think so, and those big shots hiding in the dark don't think so, and your mother's old friends don't think so. Such a precocious mind, such a smart child, a personality that doesn't compete with others, and a natural talent. What a pity, what a pity. Why is he that person's child? Those who kill, will always be killed. Although I have no desires, and do not want to be the supreme overlord who rules the world, I do not dislike fighting violence with violence, and stopping evil with evil. Teacher, what do you think? Hiss, what a good way to fight violence with violence, and stop evil with evil. Is he waking me up, or warning me about something? The little child said a few words, but Fei, who was middle-aged, was at a loss, showing a confused expression of uncertainty. If someone wants to kill me, then kill him back. If he kills me, I will kill his family. If he kills my family, I will kill the whole clan. Those who touch my reverse scale will die. Teacher, why do you think I can be called master and apprentice with you, and have a harmonious relationship with you? In an instant, the monstrous power like thunder made Fei almost collapse to the ground. And the slight leak of momentum was only a flash by Luo Wen, and he did not continue to embarrass this teacher who had a bottom line as a human being. I don't know. Was it because of the dean, or because of Mr. Fan, or because of Wu Zhu? Then what was it? Because of my grandmother, because of the Fan mansion where I live, and the father I have never met, and of course, your Dean Chen Pingping. I remember him. Although he is full of hostility, he has no malice towards me. Instead, his eyes are full of love and care. Is it because of my biological mother? Hiss, you actually remember the memory of your birth. How is it possible? It is impossible, so I feel relieved to tell you, because no one will believe it. Besides, no matter how violent the storm is, I will remain unmoved. In this big world, who can do anything to me? There is no earth-shattering power, no strange phenomenon of changing the color of the wind and clouds. There is only shock and awe that makes people excited. Alas, the young master's ability is beyond the comprehension of mortals like us. In this way, I can rest assured. Haha, the transfer order from Kyoto has arrived. Teacher, are you leaving Danzhou? I knew that the young master knew everything about the world without leaving his house, and his insight into people's hearts is even more frightening. I think the Xinghua Fang that is stirring up the world at this time. Oh, I don't know what Xinghua Fang is. I didn't say anything just now. Teacher, I respectfully wish you a safe journey, and arrive in Kyoto as soon as possible to report. Fei, who has been with Luo Wen for a long time, also twitched his mouth at this time, revealing a helpless and awkward smile. Born between heaven and earth, he has the fate to have such a stunning genius and such a master-disciple friendship. Fei is already satisfied. Being called a teacher by such an extraordinary person for half a year, he only feels that he has no regrets in his life. Forget it, I was just worrying too much. Ziona will definitely be a great man in the future, and he will be a great man. Teacher, you are very lucky. Chapter 387 Red Knight. In the blink of an eye, it has been 18 years since Luo Wen came to this world. He looks exactly like the people in the main world. In other words, having lived in this world since childhood, he has more of the breath and natural flavor of this world. It doesn't seem like he came directly from this world in the body of an adult, which gives people a somewhat abrupt and disharmonious feeling. Wow, clatter, clatter, be careful, be careful. What are these people doing? Why are they riding horses in the street without saying a word? What if they hit someone? Oh no, no, they seem to be heading towards the fan mansion. Ah, this group of people are carrying weapons, and they are full of blood. Are they here to commit murder? Shut up your stinky mouth. Master Fan Zion has done a favor for the people of Dinzhou. Besides, the Fan Mansion is the old residence of the current minister of the Ministry of Revenue. How could these people be so bold? Don't make blind guesses here. Let's follow them and see. Hey, Leah, you go to the government office to report to the authorities. Just in case, we'd better be careful. On the crowded street, some people took shoulder poles, some took bamboo sticks, and some took iron hose and iron forks. The name of Fan Family's prodigy Fan Zion was already known to everyone in Danzhou City. In addition to the reputation of being a local genius, Fan Zion has done many good deeds that benefited the people of Danzhou, such as providing disaster relief and food, paying for bridges and roads, and many other acts of kindness. The people of the small town are simple and honest, and they know how to repay kindness, so naturally there are many followers. We welcome Master Fan Zion back to the mansion, and please allow Madam Fan to report. They all knelt on one knee in an orderly manner. They were dressed in red clothes and red armor. Even the war horses that had been through many battles were covered in red chainmail, revealing only the horse's legs, nose, mouth, and eyes. Needless to say, the knights were strong and sturdy, and everyone could see it. The key was that the silent group of red knights, with their solemn and elite aura, made those people who had the courage to come to support them, not knowing whether to continue for a moment. They were already kneeling on the ground, so it was clear that they had misunderstood. Alas, what is coming will eventually come, and I'm afraid that I can't keep what I want to keep. Ziona, do you want to go to Kyoto or stay in Danzhou? It's up to you to decide. Chuna, help me back to the room. I'm flooded. Yes, old lady. The old woman who was originally sitting in the pavilion in the backyard to cool off, heard the movement coming from outside the gate, and seemed to have a premonition that such a day would come. Even if she was reluctant, she knew very well in her heart that Ziona, her beloved child, was now an eagle ready to spread his wings and fly. If he continued to stay in Dinzhou, it would undoubtedly be a kind of bondage and cruelty to him. She should let go. The old man has always been in good health. I don't know why he needs someone to support him today. When the pretty little Maituna came forward, she found that the old lady with her back turned was already in tears, and her whole body was shaking and weak. Is it because she is reluctant to let the young master leave that she is so sad and unable to control herself? Plop, no matter how tough Luo Wen was, for a kind old man who treated him as his own grandson, at this time, he had to endure the sadness and reluctance in his heart and let him go out to explore. Such a broad mind and love, he had no way to repay. He could only kneel down on the ground with infinite sadness and bow his head. Ziona, kneel down to thank grandma for raising me. When Luo Wen wanted to say something more, his eyes were red, and he didn't know where to start. He was not Fan Zion, and it was only 12 years since he left. It was really possible that after this separation, the two of them would not meet again. Alas, forget it, forget it. Luo Wen has enjoyed 18 years of family love and care, and he is also satisfied. It is his duty to fulfill the fate of Fan Zion. Without him living in the Fan family, those killers who have been coming year after year may not embarrass the Fan family anymore. Just think of it as repaying a favor. Just think of it as giving a complete explanation to this plot world. Luo Wen stood up and watched the old man tremble and slowly leave. He also calmed down, turned back to his small courtyard, and began to pack his luggage, ready to go to Kyoto to venture out. Swish, a sound of fluttering clothes came from the air. Wu Zhu, with the same unchanged face, carried a heavy metal box and stepped into the Fan mansion, which was very unfamiliar to him. Are you leaving Danzhou? In addition to the responsibility that seemed to be engraved in his genes, there was also a strange excitement in his voice. Luo Wen had long seen through Wu Zhu's identity. He was just a bionic robot loaded with semi-artificial intelligence. No wonder he always spoke concisely, like a machine without 7 emotions and 6 desires, because he was originally a robot. If you want to go with me, then go ahead. However, I think you should think about yourself. Why do you exist? In addition to protecting me, can you seek other meanings in life? Luo Wen is very familiar with promoting the evolution of artificial intelligence programs. After all, the spark that has been upgraded and optimized one after another, and her performance is no different from that of normal humans, a considerable part of which comes from the communication and guidance between Luo Wen and her. At the same time, the Red Armored Knights who came here under the order of their master, on the same day they set off, had already taken the lead in arriving in the remote Danzhou city. In the Fan Mansion, the undercover who was bought a long time ago had lived together peacefully for more than 10 years. After receiving the secret order, they still became ruthless in their hearts and started their conspiracy with internal and external cooperation. According to the original plot that Luo Wen had read, a killer named Teng Zijing from the Inspection Bureau was ordered to kill the traitor. Then, with the cooperation of the housekeepers out of the Fan Mansion, he set up a poisoning plan. In the end, he was stopped by the kind-hearted Fan Zan. It seems that at the end of that episode, the two became friends who did not know each other after fighting. Master, it's time to have dinner. The old lady asked the kitchen to cook a lot of your favorite dishes. Has it started? Okay, I'll be right there. Luo Wen waved his hand casually, and the drawings on the table, some handwritten books and picture books, and those small precision ornaments that needed to be avoided, were all stored in the storage space, and stayed quietly with the matter converter that occupied most of the volume. In the perception of divine thoughts, the young farmer that Zhao Guanjie let in the backyard had successfully poisoned, and was quietly leaving. Wu Zhu, who was standing behind Luo Wen, had long disappeared, leaving only a weapon box covered with scales on the surface. When watching TV, Luo Wen didn't know what was inside, but for ordinary people, the mysterious box, that was extremely solid, under Luo Wen's current divine perception, it was nowhere to hide. It was just a finely made big sniper that was out of the background of this era. It seems that the lady mentioned by Wu Zhu, the original mother of Fan Zan, and the secrets hidden in this world are not as simple as Luo Wen thought. In other words, for the upcoming trip to Kyoto, the mysterious hostile young man Yan Bingyan on the road, and the big man who was worshipping in the temple, Luo Wen is also full of expectations, and wants to personally unveil their mysteries one by one. Chapter 388 Teng Zijing. Master, come quickly, this is a rare mountain delicacy that is hard to find in this season. I also specially asked the kitchen to make your favorite fish-flavored pork shreds. Leo Ha asked his nephew to deliver it specially. There was an inexplicable fear in the depths of his eyes, and it was as if he was on a thorn in his back. Every minute and every second was torture. Butler Zhao, who had served in the Fan Mansion for many years, actually didn't want to do this kind of thing. Not only because of the young master's terrifying strength, but also because of his strict self-discipline and leniency towards others. But who let Butler Zhao's fate be decided by himself? The big man behind him held the lives of his family in Kyoto, so he had to do it. I'm sorry, young master. I hope you can be reborn in the underworld, and not be reborn in such a powerful family full of conspiracies and intrigues. Zaina, sit down and eat. Grandma is afraid that it will be difficult for you to eat with me in the future. Mrs. Fan, with a kind smile on her face, obviously adjusted her sad mood. At this time, she also waved and called Luo Wen to sit next to her. Oh, Oklahoma, Grandma. 4 dishes and 1 soup. This is the family rules that Madame Fan changed after listening to Master Fan Zan's advice, saying that she refused to waste and cherish every grain of food. Grandma, you eat first. With a click, Luo Wen picked up the chopsticks and started to pick up dishes for the old lady, and then picked up the rice bowl and chewed it slowly, especially the fish-flavored pork shreds, which he ate with relish, as if the kitchen made it very suitable for his taste today. Alas, poor Madame Fan, don't blame me for being cruel. I was also threatened by someone, and had no choice. You have your own grievances and debts, so don't come to me when you go downstairs. No matter how hesitant and conflicted Butler Zhao was when he chose to obey the order, it meant that he had made a choice. It was not selfishness, but using other people's lives to exchange for his own life. It can only be said that he chose the wrong person. Butler Zhao, you should go down and have dinner with them. I'll take care of Grandma here. Oh, thank you for your consideration, young master. Seeing that Fan Zion and old Madam Fan had eaten the food, Butler Zhao didn't want to stay any longer. He had just packed up his bags, and it was almost time for him to leave. By the way, Butler Zhao, the poison in the bamboo shoots is not very effective, and will not kill people. Do you want to ask the person who poisoned it if he put it in the wrong place? Crunch, snap, poisonous. Ziona, are you telling the truth? Old Madam Fan got her son's confession. Since Fan Zion moved into the mansion, she has been on high alert and prepared to deal with those killers who may appear at any time. Unfortunately, Ziona has grown up, but he has never seen the killer. Of course, he didn't need to say that those black-clothed masked men who were dealt with by Luo Wen in private, which made the people in the Fan mansion panic. Who would have thought that it was to paralyze her, an old woman, and waited for today. Madam Fan was about to knock over the bowl in Luo Wen's hand and ask him to spit it out quickly. Her expression was full of tension and self-blame. No need, Grandma. I have already solved the poison in this dish. No, old lady, young master, this is really not my intention. Woohoo, the second lady gave me an order, otherwise my whole family will die. Spare my life. Butler Zhao knelt on the ground and kowtowed like pounding garlic. He was not afraid of the incident being exposed and what Madam Fan would do to him. What really frightened him was the gentle and approachable young master Fan Zion. When he was 3 years old, he was warned by Fan Zion by slapping a rockery into powder because he taught the maid a lesson. Now more than 10 years have passed. Not only is he aware of the poisoning today, but how amazing is his strength now? When he thought that he might not be left with any bones and turned into a pile of flesh and blood powder, Butler Zhao was really crying at this time, crying as miserably as he could. Damn you. My Fan family has treated you well for the past 10 years, but you dared to betray me and poison my Ziona. Someone, drag him away, break his legs, and throw him into the sea to feed the fish. Old Madam Fan, as the mistress of the house, was furious. How could she be soft-hearted? Especially for a bad guy like Butler Zhao. She was also scared, and a layer of cold sweat broke out on her back. She is now old and frail, and it is not a pity to die. But if she poisoned her own Ziona, it would be a crime so serious that even Butler Zhao could not atone for it, even if he was cut into pieces. No, please spare me, old lady, please spare me, young master, please spare me. Facing Butler Zhao's crying and shouting, Luo Wen's face was not moved at all. His firm character also made old Madam Fan put down the last bit of worry in her heart. Maybe in her eyes, Luo Wen is gentle and polite, friendly, and generous to others, but she is afraid that he is too kind and indecisive, which makes people worry. Now it seems that she underestimated her own Ziona. Drag him away. What are you still standing there for? Yes, old lady. Creak, creak, leisurely and elegant, Luo Wen walked towards the residence of Leo Ha who delivered the food. Behind him, the murderous Red Knights could only watch Master Fan Zion walk by, but they themselves could not move at all. What kind of mysterious ability is this? Could it be that Master Fan Zion has learned the legendary different skills and can control people's body movements invisibly? Damn, just ordinary people like them. How dare they be disrespectful in front of Master Fan Zion? It is really disrespectful. It seems that it is Master Fan Zion's generosity that saved them from death. Creak bang. Luo Wen pushed open the door of an ordinary house. The middle of the yard was in a mess. The vegetable farmer Leo Ha, who was delivering vegetables with a horrified face, had a cloth ball stuffed in his mouth and was tied to a wooden stake with hemp ropes as thick as fingers, unable to move. When he saw the young master of the Fan mansion coming in, he began to struggle with the sound of and the warning in his eyes pointed to the room on the side. Creak, creak. Hey, young Master Fan Zion of the Fan Mansion, the people in the city all call you a genius, and you have done many good deeds. It is said that you are handsome and extraordinary. Now it seems that the rumors are not only true, but also a little modest. The young man with a stern face and a long bun, his eyes were full of admiration and surprise, as well as a little bit of pity that was not easily detected. Perhaps, in the eyes of this killer named Teng Zijing from the Inspection Institute, Luo Wen, in addition to his handsome appearance and extraordinary temperament, would not change his determination to complete the assassination mission. I think you forced me to come here, not just to praise me, right? Luo Wen turned around and looked at him directly, his face calm and composed. Teng Zijing said no more, but he had a bad feeling in his heart, but he couldn't tell what was wrong. He grabbed the corner of his cloak and was ready to launch the poisoned hidden weapons under the cloak. As a killer who has received strict assassination training, talking too much is a taboo. The so-called rules of the underworld are certainly not what people like them should abide by. As long as the task can be completed, no matter what, this is one of the principles of killer training. But, no matter how hard Teng Zijing tried, his face turned red, but his body stopped uncontrollably in place, and he couldn't even blink his eyelids. Is it him? A strange technique, or poisoning? What's going on? Chapter 389 The First Accomplice. Oh, you can't move your whole body now. Blame me, I was negligent. Luo Wen showed a trace of embarrassment on his face, and released part of the telekinesis that controlled the young man's neck. This made Teng Zijing, who was almost out of breath, breathe in the fresh air with a wheeze, and then looked at Luo Wen in front of him with horror. What did you do to me? Why can't my body move? I couldn't even breathe instinctively just now. Teng Zijing's whole body seemed to be surrounded by the pressure of the deep sea, making his bones creak. While bearing great pressure, he was filled with deep fear from the bottom of his heart for such an unpredictable unknown superpower. In order to have a few words with you calmly, I have to control your body and let you not try to do some actions that put you at risk. In fact, I'm doing this for your own good. Luo Wen's words, as well as the harmless smile on his face, made Teng Zijing suddenly stunned. What he said seemed to make some sense. You are a killer? Of course. What's your name? I don't think you will tell me, even if I ask you. Who is the mastermind behind this? You won't tell me either. Then, let me think about it. I'm a bastard of the Fan family who lives in a remote place. Why do some people want to kill me again and again? I have affected the interests of some people, and some people don't like me. Luo Wen didn't wait for Teng Zijing to speak, and he muttered to himself in front of him. Wait, he said he was a bastard of the Fan family? But, wait a minute, if you are just the illegitimate son of the Fan family, why did I receive a secret order to kill the traitor? Oh, a secret order, another secret order, but what did I do to deserve the title of traitor? Luo Wen has not watched the subsequent plots, and can only analyze these conspiracies by himself. However, as a secret killer of the Inspection Institute, Teng Zijing was naturally ordered by his superiors. The Inspection Institute was under the jurisdiction of Chen Pingping, and Chen Pingping did not need to wait until today, 18 years later, to kill people. At that time, Luo Wen's abilities were restricted by the system, and it could be said that it was the most vulnerable moment of crisis. So, is there a traitor in the Inspection Institute? I don't know either, but orders are orders. I just follow the arrangements of the Inspection Institute. Since you have such strange abilities, and I know nothing about you, and now I'm defeated by you, well, you can kill me, or chop me up as you please. He closed his eyes, with a resigned attitude of waiting to be killed. It's true that Luo Wen also understood why Fan Zion in the original drama would let him go, a killer with a trace of bottom line and principles. When I was 5 years old, I worshipped Fei Ji, the head of the 3rd Division of the Inspection Institute, as my teacher, and before he left, he gave me this. Luo Wen remembered the tissy waste badge he had casually put in the storage space. He thought it would be useless. Now it seems that, if he wants to pry open Teng Zijing's mouth without using special magic, this is the only simplest way. Supervisor's badge. How do you have our Inspection Institute's supervisor's badge? Teng Zijing opened his eyes, and saw the token in Luo Wen's hand. He felt angry that he was treated as a discarded pawn. He was not stupid. Fan Zion in front of him could speak openly, which meant that it was true. At least, he could not move his hands and feet now, and his life was at the mercy of others. Fan Zion had no need to tell him these nonsense to deceive him. Of course it was given to me by teacher Fei Ji. Oh, what he said was the task assigned to him by Dean Chen Pingping. What? The illegitimate son of the Fan family was secretly ordered to be killed. Dean Chen Pingping, the chief of the 3rd Department Fei Ji, and the director of the 6th Department were in charge of assassination. However, this time, he, a newcomer from the 4th Department, was sent to carry out the mission. Oh, it turns out that I'm just an insignificant abandoned child. It's ridiculous, ridiculous. On a sunny morning, Mrs. Fan was actually a strict person who was not good at expressing her emotions. However, under Luo Wen's sincere filial piety, no, it should be called Fan Zion, a Fan Zion who was replaced by Luo Wen and behaved differently. Fan Zion supported his grandmother and was personally escorted to the gate of the Fan mansion by her. Master, we can't bear to part with you. Woo, master, we will miss you. The servants and maids of the Fan mansion, who were inseparable from each other, were all standing outside the door. And the carriage that had been prepared long ago was also filled with ice cubes to cool off and quench thirst, as well as various sachets and small gifts by the considerate maid sister. Zina, grandma is old, and you have to experience and witness the outside world by yourself. I'm praying for you silently in Danzhou. Remember to take good care of yourself when you are outside, discuss anything with your family and friends, and always remember to write back to report safety to grandma. The old woman was reminding Fan Zion over and over again, and Fan Zion was silently feeling the faint sandalwood scent on the old woman's body, and the caring warmth of her arm tightly holding his arm. Grandma, Zioner understands. You go back, maybe it won't be long before I can solve the mystery of myself and return to Danzhou to accompany you. No, 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 our Zioner is handsome and has amazing knowledge. He will definitely be liked by many girls. You must bring a few more back to grandma. It would be best if I can become a great grandmother. How did he end up in another world? Or did he suffer a crisis of urging marriage? In a trance just now, Luo Wen almost completely put himself into the identity of Fan Zion. This time, he suddenly woke up and remembered that he was Luo Wen from another world. Oh, I know. I have to hurry. Take care, grandma. Luo Wen took a step and jumped directly onto the carriage, then got into the carriage, waving his hands through the curtains. At the same time, Teng Zijing, hurry up, drive the carriage, and set off quickly. It's Master Fan Zion. He changed his black cloak, removed all the identity tokens and hidden weapons of the Inspection Institute, dug out the body of a death row prisoner from the cemetery outside the city, and forged the illusion that Teng Zijing died in the line of duty. At this time, Teng Zijing changed into the short-sleeved outfit of a coachman, and even changed his bun to a servant's headband instead of a metal herring. TSK, such a brilliant Fan Zion with abilities beyond the comprehension of ordinary people. Who would have thought that he was actually a shy and marriage-fearing innocent boy? How interesting. By the way, he looks and behaves like this. I'm afraid he doesn't know that the Minister of the Ministry of Revenue, Fan Jianfen, who is far away in Kyoto, has arranged a marriage for him. I'm afraid he will be even more panicked when he gets married in Kyoto, right? So should I, as an accomplice, remind him in a friendly way. Chapter 390 The Long Road. Oh, Kyoto is really far away. We have been walking for almost a month, and it will take another day to get there. Zhao Wuzi, don't complain. Our young master is kind-hearted and bought a cart on the road to save us from the pain of walking. Otherwise, if we walk to Kyoto on foot, our feet will probably be worn off. The meal is ready. Let's eat. Between the green mountains and green waters, there is a Lois road walked by pedestrians and merchants. There is no grass on it. In the small woods and grass slopes on both sides, there are a group of disciplined red knights sitting, and a few gossiping servants of the Fan family. On another earthen stove near the roadside water source, the fragrant and well-cooked broth and white rice are also filled in 2 light metal containers. Ordinary people can only boil some water and eat some dry and hard steamed buns and pancakes. However, they have fresh meals that make people drool every day, and even vegetables and fruits for the team to enjoy. I'm afraid that this is a special treatment that only the Emperor can have. In the whole team, except for the 20 Red Knights and 7 servants of the Fan Mansion, including Teng Zijing who plays the driver, the rest is a luxurious carriage that Luo Wen rides, and the cart that he bought later. In addition to being able to allow several servants to ride on it, there is also a large square metal container that is fixed. Every time he arrives in a town, Luo Wen will ask the servants to buy a large amount of vegetables, fruits, and fresh meat. Luo Wen will then take out high purity saltpeter to make enough fresh ice cubes. This is why they are still full of energy and have the root of kung fu chatting after a long journey. Of course, in order to conceal his tracks, Luo Wen had to use some traditional methods that they could barely accept to make ice. Otherwise, Luo Wen was afraid that they would not be able to accept it if he used magic or high technology directly. Walking from south to north, the air becomes drier and drier. At least compared to Danzhou, a city close to the sea. After arriving in the hinterland of the mainland, the scenery and mountains and rivers have many different changes. On the last night before entering Beijing, Luo Wen also walked out of the carriage. The sky was full of stars, but Luo Wen could not see a familiar constellation in his memory, but the quiet and mysterious effect was exactly the same. Master Fan Zion, Master Fan Zion. Well, no need to be polite. We have been together for quite a long time. You know, I don't like these vulgar etiquette. Facing the red armored knight and the respectful titles of his servants, Luo Wen also waved his hand, asking everyone not to be so serious and formal. He acted like a family, which invisibly brought everyone closer. I see that the night sky is bright tonight and everyone is not in the mood to sleep. Why don't we have a bonfire party? What? A bonfire party? When it comes to killing people or executing military orders, the Red Armored Knights are very good at it. They have never heard of this party. However, they have heard that scholars have poetry gatherings and garden parties. Could it be that Master Fan Zion wants to recite poems under the moon? Master, we are all rough people. What kind of bonfire party are you talking about? We are afraid that we will spoil your mood. How about we just forget it? No, I'm talking about a bonfire party. Light a bonfire, then take out all the meat, marinate it, skewer it on bamboo sticks, brush it with sesame oil and seasonings, and everyone will eat a big meal. Rather than a bonfire party, it is more like a barbecue party. Oh, so that's how it is. In that case, let's have a bonfire party. All of you listen to me. Go to the forest and catch more wild rabbits and pheasants. We want to have a bonfire party with Master Fan Zion. The captain of the Red Armored Knights was a young man, probably a few years younger than Teng Zijing. Upon hearing his order, those knights who had long intended to get close to the powerful Master Fan Zion immediately dressed lightly and ran into the grove with longbows and swords in hand. The servants of the Fan Mansion who heard the noise also began to prepare metal containers with a clear look on their faces and took out the various seasonings developed by their young master. Obviously, they were not so unfamiliar with the bonfire party. Their throats rolled and they kept swallowing their saliva. The young master was obviously in a good mood today. I will be able to taste the food he made in person later. It is really exciting. The next morning, after eating and drinking at night, they sang and listened to young Master Fan Zion telling a story from Strange Stories from a Chinese studio. The love between a human and a ghost, as well as various magical transformation techniques and spells, made everyone exclaim in surprise and freshness. Creak, creak. In the swaying carriage, Luo Wen closed his eyes and sat cross-legged, as if he didn't feel any discomfort or distress. Master Fan Zion, I think I'd better tell you this news, so that you won't say that I, Teng Zijing, am not a good friend. What's going on? Could it be that without the close distance and fun with the people last night, this Teng Zijing who has surrendered still has some secrets that he is reluctant to tell? If you have something to say, just say it. If you have something to say, just fart. Since you regard me as your friend, just say it directly. I won't blame you. Then I'll tell you the truth. Your father, Lord Fan, has arranged a marriage for you in Kyoto. When you arrive at the fan mansion in Kyoto, I'm afraid you will soon change into wedding clothes and go to marry the bride. Congratulations, brother fan. Wait a minute, is there this part in the plot? Damn it, when leaving Danzhou, Luo Wen just felt uncomfortable because of Madame Fan's urging to get married. At that time, he already had a vague illusion that something was wrong, but after thinking about it, he couldn't figure out why. He just thought that he might meet the second generation official Yan Bingyan on the road, and Feniji who he hadn't seen for many years, and the mysterious big man in the temple. Yes, in the original plot, Teng Zijing, who was walking halfway, did mention to Fan Zion about going to Beijing to get married. It's Luo Wen's fault that he didn't remember this. Why didn't you tell me earlier? Do you know who the other party is? Brother Fan, with your elegant demeanor, handsome appearance, extraordinary literary talent, and unfathomable strength. Indeed, if there were no such thing as this marriage, you would have been liked by so many beautiful girls. What a pity. Teng Zijing, who loves to watch the fun, seems to have lost his fear and terror after getting to know Luo Wen. Instead, he treats him with sincerity and relaxes himself, treating himself as an ordinary friend of Luo Wen. Luo Wen has always accepted such friendship or family affection without any malice. This can be regarded as a blessing in disguise for Teng Zijing. It is estimated that from here on, his miserable life will be changed against the will of heaven. I asked you who the other person is, you told me first, then laughed. I don't know, how can I tell you, but I guess he is from a famous family, at least a lady from a rich family. Brother Fan, you are so lucky, haha. Fuck you. I have been keeping my virginity for so many years. Could it be that I was plotted against by Fan Zion's cheap father? Otherwise, I should just jump out of the car and run away before we reach Kyoto. Luo Wen couldn't help but fall into the first hesitation in his life, but the system tasks of experiencing the plot, and adults will have such a day sooner or later. Love between men and women is human nature. I'm a dignified land immortal. I should do whatever I want. What is there to be afraid of? Chapter 391 Entering Beijing. Luo Wen's motorcade had red armored knights leading the way in front and servants from the Fan Mansion in Danzhou in the back. Although there was no Fan Mansion crest on the motorcade, and Fan Zion was just an illegitimate child without a name or status, the style of the motorcade would surely make it difficult for any blind thief to come and seek death. Teng Zijing was just laughing at Luo Wen's joke, saying that a small driver should not be too arrogant. Luo Wen's emotions suddenly fluctuated. In the main world, his life events did not go as his parents wished, so how could they end in this world? Later, a long caravan of merchants arrived from the direction of Kyoto. There were strong guards in shorts in front, and patrolling escorts around. Behind an ordinary looking carriage, there were more than 10 carts loaded with goods. Teng Zijing's face suddenly changed drastically. He quickly put on the straw hat beside him, and lowered his head as much as possible. Oh no, it's the people from the inspection bureau. Oh, so what? Luo Wen asked knowingly, looking at Teng Zijing's back from the open curtain of the car with a playful face. Teng Zijing could obviously feel the eyes that mocked him, but at this time he was tense all over, and didn't dare to argue with him. Feniji. In the blink of an eye, I haven't seen him for more than 10 years. The sloppy man in the past is still ragged, and exudes the strange smell of Chinese herbal medicine. That's right, the famous poison master in the whole Qing Kingdom. Before Luo Wen came to this world, Feniji was one of the important characters in the plot. He was indeed a character wherever he went. Creak, creak. The appearance of the Red Knight and the servants of the Fan Mansion also attracted the attention of Feniji, who was walking at the end of the caravan. He had lived in Danzhou for more than half a year, so it was impossible for him not to recognize that these people were dressed as servants of the Fan Mansion. Besides, how could the intelligence network of the Inspection Institute, which was spread all over the world, not know that Fan Jian had instructed his personal guards to go to Danzhou to pick up his illegitimate son? He should be sitting in this carriage, right? I wonder what the child looks like now, after we parted in Danzhou. Is he still so different and outstanding? In Feniji's eyes, that were 3 parts excited, 3 parts nostalgic, 3 parts restrained, and 1 part expectant. The curtain on the left side of the carriage was lifted, and the familiar Fan Zan in his memory nodded in a friendly manner, and took the initiative to greet Fei. It's him, still so handsome. It seems he still remembers me. It's great that everything has been going well for so many years. The two teams passed each other without any verbal intersection, just like the other travelers who were gradually becoming lively on the road. Everyone was just a stranger who happened to meet on the road. The cold and handsome young man in the car must be the Yan Bingyan who Luo Wen had never seen in the plot. And Fei, after so many years, except for his grey hair and beard, he didn't seem to have changed much. His temperament became more and more lazy, and his status in the inspection institute didn't seem to have been promoted. Others rode horses, but he walked. I don't know if it was intentional, or if he had any special hobbies. Brother Fan, most of the people in the caravan just now are my former colleagues from all over the country. Oh, by the way, did you see, just now that your teacher, who is such a powerful pillar of the inspection institute, is here to support us? I think something big must be happening. When they were a little far away, Teng Zijing breathed a sigh of relief and raised his head to chat with Luo Wen in the car again. However, he never dared to take off the straw hat on his head. He was now a dead man who had died in the line of duty. Fortunately, he reacted in time, otherwise, he would have almost exposed his identity when he was close to Kyoto. How could he act secretly and investigate the real purpose of the person who gave him the secret order? Oh, really? According to the plot, Yan Bingyan and Fei went to Biki to take over the secret spy network. In depth, they were also involved with Fan Zan, because Teng Zijing was a spy for the 4 officers, but he killed the 3 chiefs, and his colleagues killed each other, and the subordinates committed crimes. As the head of the 4 officers, Yan Ruohei must be responsible for this matter, and Teng Zijing was Yan Bingyan's subordinate. Therefore, Yan Bingyan was dismissed and went to Biki to take over the spy network. Going to the enemy country to be responsible for intelligence collection is extremely dangerous. Yan Bingyan is the hottest young up-and-coming person in the Inspection Institute. It is conceivable how much Fan Zan is valued in the eyes of the Dean Chen Pingping. Of course, it is also possible to be sent out for training. If Yan Bingyan can retire from Biki and return to Kingo, it will be a time of rapid development. It's just that now, Luo Wen has replaced Fan Zan. Although there are basically no major changes in the previous plot, in the eyes of Luo Wen, who has met Teng Zijing and made a lot of preparations behind the scenes, Yan Bingyan, who is arrogant and ambitious, is just an ordinary person. Luo Wen only regards Fei as an old friend. He opened the car curtain and had a look at him, which was the best expression of his nostalgia. It is obviously impossible to stop the car and catch up with him to reminisce about the past. If Yan Bingyan appears again and sets an ambush to take down Fan Zan's waist badge, I'm afraid Luo Wen will kill him easily. Such a huge change to the plot is obviously inappropriate. At least Luo Wen doesn't want to be a bloodthirsty devil in the eyes of the world for the time being. Ta-ta. Ta-ta. The city is several feet high, plus the sentry towers and towers built on the top of the city. The height is probably no less than 10 feet, which is the 34.5 meter data determined by Luo Wen's eyes. It is magnificent and magnificent, especially under Luo Wen's sky eye. The sky above the entire Kyoto is floating with the extremely prosperous Yellow Dynasty luck. If there is no interference from external factors, it can be regarded as a prosperous scene of prosperity and peace and prosperity of civil and military affairs. Brother Fan, this is Kyoto. The entire King Kingdom, and even the world, can be regarded as the most magnificent and great capital. Teng Zijing, who was like a reincarnation, looked at the city gate close at hand and the lively scene of the crowds of people. He was probably sighing that his life situation this time out of Beijing was to twists and turns. Oh, indeed, it looks much better than Ansao City. Luo Wen has seen all kinds of buildings, modern, ancient, complicated, minimalist and sci-fi. As the king, he reigns over the world. As the founder of a group, he leads hundreds of thousands of people to change their fate in the world. Looking at the capital of King, Luo Wen has only lived in this world for 18 years. Following Teng Zijing's tone, he expressed the most natural admiration as Fan Zan. Hey, wait. The carriage was about to enter the city. The soldiers of King guarding the gate did not charge any fees or verify the customs documents. It was just a middle-aged man wearing a black long-sleeved brocade suit and a friendly face who stopped Luo Wen and his party. Fanjingang? Wan Kinian? Looking at this familiar face across time and space, Luo Wen was helpless. However, no matter how you came here, it seems that the system has been re-optimized and the settings are no longer the same. What's up, sir? Is there something wrong? Oh, you are right. I think this is Mr. Fan's son. I'm Wan Kinian. I have long admired Mr. Fan's talent and appearance. Today, I see that he is indeed extraordinary and handsome. Mr. Fan, you have traveled all the way here from Danzhou, thousands of miles away. It is really hard. He bowed and acted particularly friendly and familiar. The compliments he said made Teng Zijing, who was hiding in the carriage, blush. He would definitely not be able to say it out loud. Oh, it turns out to be Brother Wang. I wonder what you want to do by stopping my carriage? Luo Wen, who has a handsome face, gentle temperament, and seems to be very easy to talk to, undoubtedly made Wan Kinian, who has a good business mind, feel that this person must be very easy to deal with. I have long admired Mr. Fan, but I regret that we have never met. I'm fortunate to meet him today. Wan Kinian was good at flattery without paying. At least compared with others, the fansign in front of him could be considered well deserved. He had no burden in his heart when praising him. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 392, Entering Beijing 2. Oh, so you came here to offer a gift, Brother Wang. I'd be very polite to you. Thank you. After receiving the map that Wan Kinian enthusiastically handed into the car, Luo Wen did not get out of the car, nor did he express anything else. He just laughed and prepared to lower the curtain to continue into the city. Oh my god, this Mr. Fanzine turned out to be a little fox who never showed his true colors. I was almost fooled by his simple and modest appearance. Hey, Mr. Fan, please stay. This map details the scenic spots and century-old shops in Kyoto. I spent a lot of energy and time to draw it. Thank you for 2 taels of silver. Haha, as a miser, Wan Kinian would not steal a chicken and lose a rice. If Fanzian, who had just arrived in Kyoto, took advantage of him, not to mention that he would not be able to accept it, I'm afraid that the captain of the city gate on duty today would laugh at him. Oh, 2 taels of silver, Brother Wang, it's business, it's not shameful, but aren't you exaggerating a bit? You dare to sell it to me for 2 taels of silver? Luo Wen didn't let Zio Wuzi outside the carriage continue to drive the carriage. He just lowered the curtain just to tease Wan Kinian. Just like now, he directly exposed him and said that this thin map in the envelope was not worth the price at all. Regardless of Luo Wen's consumption concept or his understanding of the plot up to this point, he couldn't be easily fooled by Wan Kinian's 2 flattering words. Hey, Mr. Fan, you don't know this. I use only the best paper. This Xinghua Fang alone costs 10 coins. Besides, a GM&C map cannot be drawn casually. It requires careful comparison and painstaking correction. 2 taels of silver is really the cost price. His expression was exaggerated, and his acting skills were superb. It was as if the map in Luo Wen's hand was really, as Wan Kinian said, extremely precious and difficult to obtain. Oh, so that's the case. I have wronged you, brother. Here, this is the cost of buying the map. Please keep it. 100 taels, the silver note commonly used in King Kingdom. What is this? No, 2 taels of money is enough. Why did Master Fan give me so much? A small amount of money is not worth mentioning for a wealthy family. They just spend it casually. If they say they were cheated, face is more important than money. They can't afford to lose face. Wan Kinian is also sure of this mentality, but he dare not easily step on some people or some bottom lines, such as asking too much or offending the real dignitaries. Although Fan Zion is just an illegitimate son of Master Fan, cheating him of 2 taels of silver is just a lesson for him to recognize the complexity of human hearts. However, 100 taels of silver bills are of a different nature. If he takes it, if this matter is heard by Master Fan, let alone what the consequences will be, I'm afraid that the Inspection Institute will investigate him. No, 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 my brother, just accept it. 2 taels are for buying the map, and the rest is for me to make friends with you. I'm taking money to help others get rid of disasters. Maybe there will be many places in this huge city of Kyoto that need your help in the future. Zio Wu, let's go. Go. Ta-ta, ta-ta, has the world changed, or am I unable to keep up with the thinking of young people? I just casually took out 100 taels to make friends? Wan Kinian stood at the city gate with the silver note and muttered to himself. Luo Wen had already asked Zio Wu to continue driving the carriage and go into the city. Swish, swish, opening the envelope. Sure enough, just like in the original play, the map was extremely crude, even the doodles of a 3-year-old child. I'm afraid it's no more than this. There was a palace in the center, surrounded by trees, and then there were city walls, and the mountains around the map. It was not the proportional map in the modern impression, it was just a piece of waste paper to deceive people. After reading it, Luo Wen put it away again with a faint smile on his face. After all, this is also a cultural relic, a souvenir worth collecting in every world, right? Brother Fan, you still plan to keep it, don't you just tear it up? Brother Teng, that's not the case. This is a witness to the friendship between me and Brother Wang. How can it be destroyed at will? By the way, since we are already in Kyoto, you are more familiar with this place than I am. The rest, you can handle it yourself. I won't see you off. Luo Wen and Teng Zijing had agreed in advance to give him a chance to redeem himself. Since he has already arrived in Beijing, he has helped him conceal his identity and avoid the inspections along the way. Why wait for him to resign voluntarily? Luo Wen likes the feeling of having the initiative in his hands. He is not that Fan's son. Oh, well, then Brother Fan, please take care of yourself. I'm just the first batch of killers being used. Now that you're in Kyoto, I'm afraid that the means waiting for you will become more and more endless. Go straight after this intersection and you will reach Lord Fan's residence. Goodbye. Okay, take care. Silence returned to the car, and Luo Wen also restrained his spiritual perception that was released around his body and greeted the subsequent developments and changes as an ordinary person. He hasn't seen the rest of the plot. Isn't it more worth looking forward to the fresh and unknown? On the bustling streets, there were vendors, pedestrians, businessmen, scholars, and performing circuses. The place was bustling with people. There were common people in coarse linen clothes, women in floor-length skirts with various hair buns, wealthy families dressed in glamorous and beautiful clothes made of silk and satin, and young students who were well-mannered and polite. There was also a piece of dense and brightly colored starfire brocade worn by bigwigs, rich ladies, and playboys. The East Street is several meters wide, and the end of it is the Imperial City. Luo Wen's carriage traveled less than a mile before entering the city, past several intersections, and was about to turn onto a secluded and quiet bluestone road in front. Rustling, rustling, a middle-aged man in silk clothes, holding a warrant in his hand, stopped the red armored knight. After speaking a few words in a low voice, the red armored knight led the team away, leaving behind a lonely carriage and a few servants of the Fan mansion who were at a loss. Master, are they ignoring us? Don't worry, someone will come to arrange for us soon. Just wait quietly. Although Luo Wen withdrew his divine sense, his enhanced 5 senses, no matter how restrained, were still far beyond ordinary people. Especially at the gate of a house a few meters away, several young women in revealing clothes and makeup seemed to be eagerly looking forward to something, but the middle-aged man who suddenly appeared, and the red-armored knights who suddenly left, were obviously beyond their expectations. They were less than 10 meters away, and they were also hesitant, not knowing what to do next. Oh, they seemed to be one of the backers of the assassination of Fan Zan. From another gate, the silver-armored warriors had already poured in, and they were all tightly controlled, including those who were looking around, and were also pulled in by several pairs of eagle claws. Greetings to Master Fan Zan. The guards have other important duties. I will continue to escort Master Fan back to the mansion. Oh, really? How could a eunuch be ordered around by an ordinary minister? Then I'll trouble you. Haha, interesting. Luo Wen, who was sitting in the carriage, did not show his face, and the middle-aged man who spoke did not intend to meet his master. He climbed onto the carriage and took over Xiao Wu's position. He waved the whip and started to drive the carriage. When passing by the house full of beautiful women, Luo Wen felt sorry for them. A group of beautiful women in their prime, who were already of low status and very miserable, now became the dead souls under the knife in vain. Chapter 393 Temple. Master Fan, there is a carriage overturned ahead. We are taking a detour back to the mansion. Please be patient. It doesn't matter whether the carriage overturned or not. The key is that the master of this middle-aged eunuch wants to take Luo Wen to a certain place. Luo Wen doesn't need to guess or think that the only person who can drive the eunuch is the Emperor of King. Could it be that this Fan Zion has an endless connection with the dignitaries of King Yi King Mui, the Emperor of King Fan Jian, Chen Pingping? What kind of past and experience do they have between them? Okay, I know. Luo Wen's voice not only makes people feel like spring breeze and comfortable, but also does not feel any impatience or the high attitude that a young and energetic person should have. The middle-aged man sitting outside driving the carriage was also confused and looked forward to the true face of the young man in the car. Gee. Ta-ta. Ta-ta. The carriage that Luo Wen was riding in began to take a detour, and the servants who had followed from Danzhou were asked by the middle-aged man, who they guessed might be the butler, to just go back. The carriage moved forward slowly, and the surrounding residential houses gradually became sparse, and then there were large areas of rocky trees and forests, as well as quiet and peaceful bluestone paths in the forest. It seemed that in the entire Kyoto, in addition to large residential houses in the imperial city, there were many such secluded places. Of course, invisibly, it also seemed to indicate that the area of the entire Kyoto city was not a simple small number. Ouch. Master, I'm in a hurry. Wait a moment, I'll be back soon. Plop. While sucking in a breath of cold air, he jumped off the carriage and ran away, and Luo Wen looked through the gauze curtain and came to a large square paved with white stones. The buildings with red walls and green tiles were also very majestic and magnificent. Temple. The person who wants to see me, or just to test me, and get the answer he wants, is in this temple. However, Luo Wen did not release his divine thoughts. Instead, he sat there, enduring the scorching sun above his head. The dull carriage was even hotter, but he seemed to be unable to feel it at all, just waiting quietly. Hiss this? The middle-aged man hiding in the corner did not look anxious at all. Instead, he looked puzzled. Why was the carriage so difficult to endure? In a new environment, Fan Zion's patience was still so good that he did not want to get off and move around, find a cool place to cool down. Aren't young people very active and have a great desire for knowledge and curiosity about everything? Why is he just sitting in the car and has no interest in the magnificent building in front of him? No, I just said a few words to him briefly and he doesn't seem to be mentally ill or stupid. That is tough and cunning. Wow, since you are at the King Temple, why don't you come in and worship? Do you know that this is a crime of disrespect? A middle-aged man in a brocade robe with an arrogant look. Even though the weather is hot, he still walks steadily, and there is no sweat on his face. Oh, this is the so-called internal key. What a wonderful effect of being immune to cold and heat. Luo Wen did not continue to turn a deaf ear, but cooperated to lift the curtain of the carriage and walk down. What a handsome young man with red lips and white teeth. Oh, is this the King Temple? Please forgive me for not knowing. I was mistakenly driven here by my servant. He went to the toilet in a hurry. Can you make an exception and leave immediately when he comes back? No. The middle-aged man who walked to the square was Gong Dian, the deputy commander of the Imperial Guards. He was told to test the strength of the young man in the carriage in the square no matter what, and then invite him to the temple to worship and pay attention to his every move. He was so rude and spoke in such a blunt tone. Why did the boy remain calm and not angry at all? I don't care about you so much. It is disrespectful to enter the temple without worshipping. I will discipline you on behalf of your parents. Watch me. Swish, he walked like a dragon and a tiger and could even fly through the air, gliding in the air like a rock spreading its wings. Gong Dan had been told to complete the task. He raised his hand and used a thunder fist, pointing directly at the boy's chest. Don't, let's talk it over. I'll go in. What's going on? Gong Dian, who was suspended in midair, suddenly found that his body could not be controlled by himself, and the handsome boy with a harmless smile on his face had already walked past him gently. Impossible. Controlling objects with ki is a method only used by great masters. How could a little boy like him have such terrifying strength? Bang. Gong Dan suddenly lost weight and fell directly to the ground, while the unknown boy who had already walked away, when he looked at the slender back again, he became more cautious, and his face turned blue and red. After hesitating for a moment, he followed carefully. The imposing manner was profound, and his strength and cultivation far exceeded the middle-aged man who started fighting at the door. And the mysterious big man in the main hall, I think he is the Lord of King Kingdom, but I didn't expect that he is also a martial arts master with hidden strength. Heh, interesting. Since you like to be mysterious and like to control everything, then it's as you wish. I want to see what you want to do next. Luo Wen stopped his steps to the main hall, but turned sideways and walked to the side hall. The black-clothed swordsman guarding the steps of the main hall also breathed a sigh of relief quietly. I don't know why the deputy commander let this handsome boy walk into the temple when he was at the door. The finest solid wood floor, the red beams and wooden pillars, the green bricks and green tiles, seem to be often repaired and maintained, revealing a different kind of grandeur. The green plants planted in the temple are also rare species, revealing nobility and refinement everywhere. Dignified and elegant style. Tap, tap, Luo Wen looked at the majestic style of the Baoxiang building here, and unknowingly walked into a hall, just like the plot, or more detailed and real. The finest Kisi fabric, embroidered with various cloud patterns and auspicious beasts, is vividly portrayed under the sunlight outside the window, as if it is about to leave the canvas and fly into the real world. When Luo Wen's footsteps just came in, a clever and delicate girl, who seemed to be doing something inappropriate in the hall, heard the noise and hid under the altar covered by brocade. Little did she know that her cautious actions had already been perceived by Luo Wen's five senses. Especially when Luo Wen approached the altar, he clearly smelled the fragrance of sandalwood, the faint orchid fragrance of the girl, and the slightly greasy smell of roast chicken. Is this someone secretly eating roast chicken here, and it's a girl? The mysterious big man in the main hall is likely to be the emperor of the current dynasty, and the one who can eat roast chicken here secretly must be of noble status, a princess, or a concubine? It's a pity that Luo Wen is not so sure, and unless he has malicious intentions, Luo Wen doesn't want to easily use his divine sense to scan irrelevant people. He didn't see the subsequent plot, so he naturally didn't know that the young woman with a thumping heart and a nervous look at this moment was his fiancée who had made an engagement. On the wall facing the altar, there were paintings of various strange mythological monsters, and on top of them, there appeared a temple emitting divine light, which seemed to be telling that in the ancient times long ago, it was the appearance of the temple that suppressed the monsters that were causing chaos, so that the world had the stable life today. Creak, creak, ha ha. The girl who was tightly holding the chicken leg now only saw a pair of long boots quietly standing out of her sight, and her already weak and sick body was extremely uncomfortable at this time, and she was about to give up. Since you are not in good health, why are you hiding under there? I'm not a bad person, you should come out, girl. A cry of surprise. Obviously the woman under the table was frightened by Luo Wen's voice following the clues. Bang. Hiss. Oh. The altar was tested for hardness with a head, and after shaking it for a while, the result was obvious. Naturally the woman suffered a loss. Swish. It's really a girl, and so young. Is he lying to me? The woman who came out from under the altar had red lips and white teeth, and her mouth was a little shiny. Her big watery eyes were wide open, and the pearl earrings hanging on her white earlobe swayed from side to side, making the girl in a white palace skirt more lovely and charming. You are a bad guy. Woo. One hand pinched the shiny chicken leg, and the other hand rubbed her head that was hurt by the collision. But looking at her bun, it must be impossible that the collision was that serious. The bad guy he was talking about was probably blaming Luo Wen for tricking her out with words. It's my fault. I apologize to the young lady. Her eyes were clear, weak and pitiful. Although Luo Wen didn't know who she was, He didn't dislike such a lovely and beautiful girl. Okay, then I forgive you, but don't tell others that I ate the chicken leg here. Not only was she pretty and cute, but she was also tall, only half a head shorter than Luo Wen. When she spoke, her voice was as clear and pleasant as a yellow warbler out of the valley. Miss. At this moment, a woman's call suddenly came from outside the hall. Oh, no, I have to go. The woman was like someone who had done something bad and ran out in a hurry. She held up her skirt, but she didn't want to let go of the chicken leg in her hand, and she was afraid that the oil would stain her clothes and leave marks. Click, she didn't run a few steps, and suddenly stopped, and walked back clumsily. This is for you, just consider it as hush money. Chapter 394 Linwana. Linwana, with a sweet smile, walked towards the little maid in green who was looking for her. She used to feel heavy and uncomfortable, but now she was brisk, and had a particularly bright and sweet smile on her face. Oh, miss, where have you been? It took me so long to find you. Creak, creak. The master and the servant walked out of the gate of the king temple, stepped on the stool, and sat down in the car. Facing the doubts of the maid, Linwana, with a happy face, still smiled innocently, as if the handsome boy she just saw in the hall made her a different person. Miss, are you okay? Oh, I'm fine. What are you talking about? Every time you go out, you run around everywhere. I was scared to death just now. Patting her chest, the maid in green always felt that something must have happened to her young lady during the time she hadn't seen her. Otherwise, why would she be smiling innocently and acting a little absent-minded? I'm naturally happy to be able to come out. It's better than staying at home every day, not allowed to leave the room, and can only take medicine. Linwana, who looked indifferent, tightly held the silk handkerchief in her hand, and took the opportunity to wipe the oil stains in her hand. Oh, the imperial physician said that you can't be exposed to the wind for your illness. Sneeze. As she was speaking, Linwana, who was dressed in white, suddenly turned pale and trembled all over. Cold sweat began to seep out of her white forehead in an instant, forming a strong contrast with the scorching sun outside the car. It seemed that her hidden illness had begun to flare up again. Cough, cough. Linwana's whole body curled up in pain with the coughing movement. Snap, snap, and the distressed green-clothed maid servant could do nothing except patting and stroking her back anxiously. Judging from her skilled reaction, it is obvious that Linwana's violent reaction should not be the first or second time. Miss, why are you coughing up blood again? After a burst of pain, the paleness on Linwana's face gradually faded. Looking at the red blood stains on the silk handkerchief in her hand, her eyes also revealed 3 parts of helplessness, 3 parts of self-pity, and a little bit of reluctance to life. Luo Wen held a large chicken leg with a faint fragrance in his hand. The most plump part of the chicken leg was bitten by neat pearly teeth. He walked out of the side hall with a faint smile on his face. As expected, the big figures in the main hall and those sharp-eyed black-clothed sword guards had disappeared at this time, as if they had achieved their desired goal. And the woman in white, who could still smell the fragrance of virgin orchids in the air, also disappeared. The beauty of the world is so easy to meet. Luo Wen suddenly felt that being able to get along with such a lovely woman might also be a fun and interesting thing. At most, when the experience time of this world is up, I can spend 200 trading points and take her back with me. This is also the first time that Luo Wen's mood has been disturbed. He thought about taking the girl back to the main world. It seems that, after being single for a long time, he finally met a woman who made him change his mind. Russell, hey, master, why do you still have a chicken leg in your hand? Oh, someone gave it to me. What, do you want to eat it? No, since someone gave it to you, you can enjoy it yourself. How can this old slave have such a blessing? Haha, the middle-aged man with an awkward smile always felt that he had lost all his secrets in front of this young man. Besides, this chance encounter was originally arranged by the master for Fan Zion and the princess. How could he, a eunuch, have such a blessing? Well, it is indeed delicious. Next, I will trouble you, eunuch. Hissy. Did he really know it? Luo Wen did not say anything else. He opened his mouth and bit the chicken leg in his hand. He did not mind being eaten by others. He thought it was impossible for it to be poisonous, and it would not poison him. Since it was hush money, it was naturally eaten from nowhere. Would he be so stupid as to keep it as a souvenir? Master, sit tight. I will take you to Fan Mansion. Go. Alas, what went wrong? Well, and his unfathomable strength, I have to report to the master as soon as possible. While there are prostitutes trying to block the road on the road into the city. They have been killed. Got it. On the empty street, Gong Dian, who was traveling in plain clothes, was just thinking about how to report to the master in the car about the mysterious boy outside the King Temple. A team of silver-armored soldiers interrupted his thoughts. What is this? His Majesty is clearing obstacles for the boy. Who is he, and why is he so favored? Miss, there is a guard outside, but he left without saying a word. It's really strange. Puff. We have walked all the way from the King Temple to the street. What's wrong with this young lady today? If she could go out by car in the past, she would have leaned on the car window like me, watching the excitement on the street with great interest. Why is she so abnormal today, sitting there and laughing all the time? Well, young lady? Miss. What's wrong? You have been laughing since you came out of the King Temple. Did you encounter something interesting? Nothing. I just met an interesting person. Miss, it's okay for others, but I hope that the young master of the Fan Mansion is also an interesting person who can make you so happy. Gather joy and girlish thoughts on Linwana's face suddenly stopped, and the maid who saw her young lady's face change drastically seemed to realize that she had said something wrong. Oh, it's all my fault for being so stupid, miss. I know you don't want to do it, but this is a marriage arranged by His Majesty after all. Okay, I know you're doing this for my own good. I don't blame you. Alas, we are not destined to be together after all. It's a pity that fate plays tricks on us. Creak, creak. Master, we've arrived at the Fan Mansion, and it's time for this old servant to retire. Well, thank you, eunuch. By the way, could you please say something for me? Wan Kinyan whom he met when he entered the city, plus he took a long detour to the King Temple. By the time Luo Wen returned to the gate of the Fan Mansion in Kyoto, it was already past noon, the sun was setting, and it was probably around 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Master, please tell me, this old servant will definitely bring it to you. When a common man gets angry, blood will splatter 3 feet, but I, Fan Zion, am not just a common man. Don't blame me for not warning you. Yes, I've got it. With a rustle, the palace servants arranged by Emperor King had already turned and left. Luo Wen also got off the carriage and looked around. The whole street was quiet, with few people walking outside. Every few dozen steps, there was a pair of stone lions standing high above, glaring at the street. The whole street was staring back and forth like this. The tall mansions were not the Li Mansion, the Wang Mansion, or the Zhang Mansion, but the Fan Mansion, where Luo Wen was standing now. It was estimated that all the people living on this street were powerful and wealthy, and naturally it would not be as densely populated and noisy as the streets outside. When Luo Wen, with his empty hands, stood here like a sword, the stone lions on both sides seemed to be eclipsed and dared not show off their power anymore. Master, please come this way. A woman in a tube top skirt, with a ruddy complexion, clean and beautiful, called softly, which made Luo Wen cast his eyes over. Swish, the woman's face was bright red in an instant, and she looked extremely shy. Oh, the first time I came, you let me go through the side door. Are you trying to show me, a bastard, how to be powerful? Luo Wen muttered to himself, and did not embarrass an unrelated maid, but walked over. Excuse me. No, it's my duty. Master, please trouble me. It seems that the second concubine of the Fan Mansion, even if she is not the real culprit behind the Zoustiad, is probably not a very kind person. Of course, as a bastard, Luo Wen is not qualified to say this. Besides, Luo Wen can't make a rash judgment without seeing it with his own eyes. Just relying on the correspondence with Fan Ruoruo is not necessarily very reliable. Chapter 395 Fan Mansion. Fan Zion's identity to the outside world is the illegitimate son of Fan Jian, the minister of the Ministry of Revenue. As for Fan Jian, Luo Wen had read the family letter in the hands of Mrs. Fan when he was in Danzhou. Whether it was the original plot he had read or the real world, Luo Wen had no impression of him at all. He only remembered one thing in his heart, that Fan Jian had been his cheap father for so many years. He didn't know how noble he was, or whether he really felt guilty. Did he owe something to the mysterious father of Fan Jian, or to Yi Qingmei, the biological mother of Fan Jian? By the way, he wouldn't be a person of unrequited love, and he didn't get Yi Qingmei's love, so he transferred his love for her to Fan Jian, right? Rustle. The winding paths in the Fan mansion, passing through the front yard, corridors, arches, gardens, arch bridges. In addition to the servants who were still working outdoors under the sun, there were also many young maids coming and going. Moreover, the entire Fan mansion is huge, and the pavilions and towers are exquisitely carved. All kinds of birds, animals, or paintings are also unique and ingenious, which makes them look particularly noble. I don't know how much the monthly salary of Fan Jian, the minister of the Ministry of Revenue, is, or is he rewarded with a lot of rewards, and has other profit channels? However, since he can afford to support elite cavalry like the Red Armor Knights at his own expense, I'm afraid that Fan Jian's power and personal ability are extraordinary. Following behind the maid in a gauze skirt, Luo Wen looked at her somewhat uneasy dodging movements and her blushing neck, and had to turn his eyes away, not to create more psychological pressure for her. Shh, keep your voice down. If you disturb the lady, we will be in trouble with you. After walking through several courtyards, Luo Wen finally saw the backyard at the end of the corridor, and the servant who was loosening the soil and watering the flower bed lawn accidentally kicked over the bucket, which immediately attracted the whispered scolding of several companions beside him. They turned their heads cautiously and looked at the fearful eyes in a room in the backyard. Obviously, they had already experienced the consequences of such behavior. However, they were all healthy and few of them were pale and thin. They didn't look like they were treated harshly and lived a miserable and helpless inhuman life. Why did they use such actions? To show their authority and status. Luo Wen was not deceived by their poor performance, nor did he care about the pretty maid who led the way. She always looked at him secretly with peach blossom eyes when he was not paying attention. I don't know if she was observing his appearance or remembering his facial expressions and his reactions after seeing these scenes, so as to explain to the master behind her. Master, we are almost there, but the lady is taking a nap now, so we need to wait outside for a while. Oh, then wait. Is this new master so easy to talk to? However, he is really handsome. Oh, I can't look at him. It will be bad if he finds out. Luo Wen was about to set out to the inner courtyard, and the maid, who looked anxious, secretly took several deep breaths to suppress the blush on her face, and her clean and white face returned to its natural state. Hey, stop right there. A loud shout broke the quiet atmosphere outside the courtyard. The person who spoke was not tall, at most 172 centimeters, and the soles of his shoes were thicker than those of ordinary long boots, barely reaching 175 centimeters. Wearing a good set of starfire brocade on his body did not add much heroic temperament to him, but instead gave him a sense of funny monkey wearing a crown. However, his face was round, and he was not very good looking, but he was not ugly either. He was just a rich young man with delicate skin and tender flesh. The metal herring bound his long black hair, and Luo Wen himself was the same. At this time, the young man in brocade clothes was holding a short wooden stick, shouting and chasing a lean old man in his 50s with a goatee and a bun on his head. Unfortunately, he was so tired that he was panting, his face flushed and sweating. The old man dressed as an accountant was running fast and running ahead of him. Bang, bang, whoosh, hitting the stone brick floor. The young man in brocade clothes drew a vague circle on the ground. Stand inside this circle, quickly. Master, please spare this old slave. It's not that I don't want to, but my wife won't let me. Bang, bang, the old man begged for mercy, while the weak and slightly fat young man punched and kicked like raindrops on the old man. Respecting the old and loving the young, or equality for all, is obviously impossible in this society. The maid who led him to the way kept saying that she didn't dare to see Luo Wen just say please. However, it can be seen that, although the young man in fancy clothes was a little angry, the poor skinny old man was also screaming, but his fists and feet avoided the vital parts and only hit the fleshy parts of the old man. The young man was already out of breath from running, and he was just venting his emotions at this time, without using much strength. I told you to run. I told you to run. Hide. Hide again. Picking up the stick and preparing to hit hard, the young man in fancy clothes just wanted to scare the accountant, and the old accountant also cooperated very well. With a scream, he ran away. This is the improvement of your leg and foot skills. You said that you are an accountant, but you run faster than a rabbit. Hoo-hoo. The young man in brocade clothes, who had lost his temper, obviously noticed the stranger standing in the yard, sent away the accountant's master, and he also pushed the messy hair on his shoulders to the back of his head, then carried the short stick in his hand, and walked over in a show of force. Hey, that kid, who are you? Damn, this kid couldn't be the illegitimate son of my dad, Fan Zion, right? Then shouldn't I call him brother? Moreover, why is it that my sister is good looking, but this kid is more eye-catching than a woman? Is this fair? Why am I the only youngest who looks the most ordinary in the entire Fan family? Are you fancies? Why, have you heard of my name? Then why don't you answer my question first, and tell me your name? A spoiled rich young master, and also the youngest who is a bit chubby in Fan Ruoro's mouth, although Luo Wen has never really taken on the identity of Fan Zion, since he has recognized Fan Ruoro as his sister and Madame Fan as his grandmother. Forget it, forget it. I'm Fan Zion, your elder brother. No, I'm me and you're you. Don't try to make connections with me. Zinger, zinger, where did this girl go? She's really a worry. Fancies, who looked insecure, faced Luo Wen's deep eyes that could see through people's hearts. He compared his own fatness and his body shape that was not as tall as Fan Zion's, and ran away with his short stick. It's a pity that this silly boy gave up such a good opportunity to get close to the land immortal. Luo Wen had already stretched out his hand to his arms, and a brocade box appeared silently. At this time, he also shook his head helplessly and put it back into the storage space. Master Fan Zion, the young master is actually just fierce and likes to scare people. In fact, he has no ill intentions. Oh, really? Luo Wen did not comment on this, followed by the maid who looked at him carefully and continued to walk towards the inner courtyard of the second concubine of the Fan mansion. Chapter 396, A Show of Force. In the main room, filled with the aroma of incense, the maids standing quietly on both sides acted obediently, ready to be ordered by their master at any time. Gurgle. A beautiful lady with her hair in a bun and covered in jewels was blowing the bird's nest soup in her hand, and then gently took a sip of the porcelain soup. She smiled without showing her teeth, and ate without making any sound. She was the elegant manner of mistress of a wealthy family. He is already outside? Well, yes, madam, he is standing there. Unlike ordinary maids in black gauze skirts, the one who replied to the second lady Liu Ruai was her personal maid. She could be regarded as a big girl with a special status, but it was a pity that she could not take a step further and become the third concubine of the Fan mansion. Alas, it was a pity that the handsome young master Fan Zion was born in a bad family and was an illegitimate child and naturally threatened the inheritance status of young master Fancies. Otherwise, it would be a very desirable thing to live in harmony with everyone in the mansion. Oh, is it impatience or anger? Her eyebrows were slightly frowned, and she looked like a mistress holding her breath. Of course, this extremely beautiful middle-aged lady's actions had an indescribable special charm, which was particularly pleasing to the eye. No, it's just that madam, he is the master's blood after all. Will the master be unhappy if we treat him like this? Thinking of the handsome boy standing quietly outside, the young mature maid in pink couldn't help but feel sympathy at this time. Fan Ruoro is 2 years younger than Fan Zion, and Fancies is 1 year younger than Fan Ruoro. As Fancies' biological mother, Liu Ruai gave birth to her son Fancies at the age of 16, and is only 31 years old now. Similarly, as her personal maid, she is also young, and has just entered the ranks of middle-aged people. Oh, what's the big deal? It's still early. We have enough time. to teach this brat from Danzhou lesson before the master finishes his official duties and returns home. Liu Ruiyu, who looked indifferent, was born in a wealthy family. Her family had produced a powerful duke. She had a keen eye for talent and chose Fan Jian, who was only Sinanbo at the time, and was willing to marry into the Fan family as a second wife, which was actually a marrying down. Although Sinanbo Fan Jian is now in the hands of the emperor and is relied upon by the emperor, and his official position has been promoted again and again, Fan Jian still feels indebted to Liu Ruiyu. Naturally, Liu Ruiyu, as the second wife of the Fan family, is also fearless. She often acts like the mistress of the house, but she also knows her limits and is not ignorant of the importance of the matter. Therefore, the family is harmonious inside and outside, and they complement each other. Master Fan Zion, can you still hold on? The maid wanted to show some concern for this gentle and handsome young master. Although she herself served the master on weekdays and had learned the experience of standing for a long time without getting tired, but standing like this, I'm afraid that the young master who has been living a life of luxury since childhood will not be able to stand it. But before she finished speaking, after seeing the calm expression on the young master's face and his upright body without any change, she realized that she seemed to have underestimated the young master's endurance and temper. It's okay, it's just standing quietly, I'm used to it. If you are tired, just go and do your own thing, you don't have to stay here with me. Luo Wen's subtext was naturally to let this beautiful maid change her position, walk around and take a rest, and he himself didn't mind the second aunt's show of power. To be honest, he had lived in Danzhou City since he was a child. Every time the Fan mansion in Kyoto sent back some money, it was prepared by this second aunt whom he had never met. Even his illegitimate son had a special package. No matter if it was Ruoro or Fan Jian who did it privately, at least the second aunt Liu Ruiyu did not stop it like a shrew. This can be regarded as a favor from her, right? Of course, with Luo Wen's ability, he has everything he wants. It's just that he has to distinguish who is good or evil to him before he can get along with them. Creak, hisses he. Fan Zion, with his not so outstanding appearance, how could he give birth to such an illegitimate child? Could it be that he looks like his mother? The door of the room was wide open, and Liu Ruiyu, who was posing in an arrogant manner, suddenly softened her heart. Maybe she just liked to show off, just like her biological son, with a sharp tongue, but a soft heart. Or, Luo Wen's inherent energy affinity can make those kind-hearted consistent people or creatures instinctively feel close to and like him, not to mention that his handsome appearance, which has been continuously optimized, is naturally attractive to those women who are naturally emotional. You are Zion from Danzhou. Blame me, I have developed a habit of taking a nap every day. I don't know why I slept a little longer today and left you alone outside the door. You won't blame me, your aunt. Having a good impression is one thing, and protecting the family business of one's own son is another. Liu Ruiyu adjusted her thoughts and walked in front of Luo Wen, and she was also sarcastic and spoke without revealing a single word. Oh, Fan Zion greets auntie. I'm not surprised that my father called me to Beijing. Living in a remote place in Danzhou, I have been taken care of by auntie for many years. Fan Zion is very grateful. How can I blame auntie? Luo Wen bowed his hands and saluted, acting neither humble nor arrogant. He just stood outside the door for more than an hour. He didn't take it to heart at all. Besides, such a dignified and beautiful middle-aged woman didn't do anything too harsh, so Luo Wen had no reason to be angry. It's very strange. Although Luo Wen is sometimes easy to talk to, he has his own temper and bottom line. When he met for the first time, he affectionately called a stranger auntie and even changed his words to call Fan Jian father. This seems a bit too abnormal, right? Could it be because of the woman in white he met today? Or, considering the feelings of little sister Fan Ruoro in the future in the Fan mansion, Luo Wen put his posture particularly low, and his temper and personality were also extremely generous. Aunt, Fan Zion has nothing. This is a small gift I specially prepared for you. I hope you will accept it. Luo Wen handed over a red velvet brocade box from his arms, and Liu Ruiyu, who was surprised, took it and opened it, and found that there was a pair of extremely exquisite emerald green jade earrings inside. Although the jade was not big, it was of extremely high quality, and coupled with the exquisite inlay method, this child is so polite. I thought you would be particularly rude, because you have lived in Danzhou since you were a child, and you are uneducated, and have no good teacher to teach you. Haha, look at my mouth. Why is it getting more and more outrageous? Ziona has come from afar, and he must have been exhausted by the wind and sun on the road. Come on, you servants are so ignorant. Why don't you take the young master downstairs to rest for a while, take a hot shower, and change into clean clothes? All Liu Rui's momentum was instantly lost, and the look she gave Fan Zan became gentle. As expected, women are the most fickle. It was you who told us to keep an eye on Master Fan Zan, right? Why are you blaming us now? Well, the master has spoken, and as servants, they can only accept it. Naturally, they dare not speak up to argue. Yes, Madam is teaching that it is the servants who are confused. Master Fan Zan. Hey, where is the kid named Fan Zan before? Call him out. I want to have a good talk with him. At this moment, Fancy's shouting suddenly sounded outside the courtyard. I don't know if he mustered up the courage or thought of a new way to deal with Fan Zan. Liu Rush's face changed slightly, and she closed the small brocade box with a snap, and put it into her sleeve. Oh, I remembered that I have some urgent matters to deal with. Ziona, you go downstairs, and settle down first. Auntie will prepare a sumptuous welcoming banquet for you in the evening. Francis is so angry, that even his own mother has to retreat. Chapter 397, Meeting Fan Ruoro again. Stretch out your hand. I'm the legitimate son of the Fan family. How dare you, a bastard from Danzhou, call me your brother? The maid, with a look of self-pity on her face, quietly retreated to the side. It seemed that what she had said to Luo Wen before, that Francis was not a cruel person, was obviously not in line with what she had said before. The young man in gorgeous clothes who came here angrily, either realized it too late, and remembered that this was his territory, or he felt that his previous performance was too cowardly, so he was angry about not getting the money, and put on the airs of the legitimate heir of the Fan family, and had to come to Luo Wen to seek justice. Oh, so you think that I, your brother, am not worthy of the title of young master of the Fan mansion? Of course, don't talk nonsense to me. Quickly stretch out your hand. Let me teach you a lesson. According to Fan Ruoro's private message, her half-brother is best at taking advantage of others' power. His favorite thing to do is to hold a short stick and stand there to make people stay still so that he can teach others a lesson. Oh, Fan Ruoro usually uses a short stick to punish him. Fancy's mother Liu Ruiu and Fan Jian, the master of the Fan mansion, also often use short sticks to admonish him. I think he probably has the sequelae of being beaten, and wants to use a short stick to teach others a lesson, to regain the dignity he has lost. Stop. A delicate rebuke, although the tone is full of seriousness and earnestness, but it is pleasant to the ears. The voice is like the person, and the person who speaks is probably a beautiful woman. When Luo Wen heard this changed female voice, he showed a sincere smile that he had missed for a long time. Turning around, a beautiful woman in a pink and white gauze skirt ran in from the courtyard gate. She walked hurriedly but still ran in elegantly. Two green jade fingers held her hands between her chest and abdomen. Even if she was cheering and jumping for joy, she still did not forget to maintain the demeanor of a lady. There are still traces of the ticket rabbit teeth from childhood. And on the pretty face with delicate and refined appearance, there is also a graceful figure of weeping willows, a slim waist that can be held in one hand, and fair and tender skin. These are the strange scenery that Luo Wen had never felt when he was a child. Girls change a lot when they grow up. Fan Ruoro, who was very cute when she was a child, is now more spiritual and beautiful. Tap, tap, hey, little Ruoro. Ah, brother Fan Zan, it's really you. I haven't seen you for so many years. You seem to look exactly the same as when you were a child, still so handsome. Dong dong, dong dong. When the 17-year-old Fan Ruoro approached the person who was the best to her in her memory, her heart began to beat wildly. The slender physique of an adult man and the fresh breath that made people intoxicated and nostalgic made her cheeks blush involuntarily. Women in this world are precocious, not to mention Fan Ruoro, who has been with Luo Wen for some time and maintained private communication with him afterwards. It is not an exaggeration to say that she is a half-modern person who never leaves the house. Francis, who was eagerly looking at her, had a very arrogant look on his face just now, but when he saw Fan Ruoro, who was even shorter than him, running in, he had a bitter look on his face, as if he had been bitten by a stone while eating, and he felt helpless and pitiful. Fan Ruoro didn't know why she had strange feelings towards brother Fan Zion, but in front of the servants and Francis, she stopped her action of wanting to throw herself into his arms. Her eyes were burning, full of endless thoughts and excitement. Little Ruoro has grown into a beautiful girl now. I heard that the reputation of the most talented woman in Kyoto was also won by our Ruoro. Brother Fan Zion is proud of you. Luo Wen didn't know whether the slight throbbing in his heart was right or wrong. How come the little girl and the big girl gave him two completely different feelings? However, for a little girl who regarded him as a real brother, Luo Wen quickly extinguished such an improper idea in his mind before his eyes showed it. He replaced it with a gentle look full of care and kindness, and raised his right hand, just as he was when he was a child, and gently stroked her soft hair. Fan Ruoro seemed to have seen her brother Fan Zion do this, and the shyness on her face became more obvious. As she grew up, she also nodded timidly, forgetting the education and etiquette she had learned, and quietly waited for the pair of slender fingers to bring her warm and comfortable memories. Let's not do it. The little girl is now an adult woman waiting to be married. Such intimate actions are always inappropriate. Luo Wen gave up the idea of continuing, and instead reached into his right hand and took out a small pearly white brocade box. Why did brother Fan Zion suddenly stop again? Ruoro, this is a special gift from brother Fan Zion. Do you like it? Two fiery red little jade rabbits are quietly hanging on Fan Ruoro's white and tender earlobes. Exquisite golden laid jade earrings and a jade hairpin is inserted in her hair. These are all birthday gifts that Luo Wen sent to Kyoto with a letter on her birthday. At this time, Luo Wen asked her if she liked it, which was obviously an unnecessary question. I like it. As long as it is given to me by brother Fan Zion. Ruoro likes everything. Hey, the relationship between these two people is too good, right? Then I will be miserable later. I'd better slip away while they are not paying attention. Creak, creak. Francis' face was full of envy, jealousy, and hatred. He didn't know why he was the least favored and the most ordinary person in the Fan Mansion. He was just like a superfluous person. Now that Fan Ruoro, the tigress, was here, Fan Zion, the illegitimate son of Dun Zhao, would probably exaggerate and say bad things about him. It's over. It's over. Why am I so miserable? Francis, where are you going? After accepting the gift from brother Fan Zion, Fan Ruoro turned around and vented the regret in her heart on her brother. Her pretty face, with constant laughter and gentleness, was instantly replaced by another face. She restrained all expressions and had a frosty face, which was really scary. Kneel down. When did this little girl become so fierce? Plop, sister, I was wrong. Luo Wen's face was a little bit unbelievable. She was a shy and innocent little cutie when facing him, but how come, when she turned around, the coldness on her face made the hot air around her become a little cooler? I just met the accountant in the yard. Do you want to attack him again? It was reasonable and well-founded. Fan Ruoro was not a rude person who would get angry at people for no reason, just because of her own preferences. However, Francis dared to disrespect brother Fan Zion today, so don't blame her for being rude. He ran so fast, how could I catch up with him? Francis, who was timid, acted like a mouse seeing a cat in front of the petite and graceful Fan Ruoro. No, maybe it was a mouse seeing a tigress. Luo Wen saw that the boy couldn't stop trembling. HMPH, shouldn't you be studying at this time? With a sly smile on her lips, Fan Ruoro wanted to give an explanation to her brother Fan Zion. She also wanted to show that she had been in the Fan Mansion for so many years and had never been bullied by anyone. After receiving his guidance through letters, I can forgive you for all these. Haha, really? Thank you. As soon as Fan Ruoro said to forgive him, Francis smiled and prepared to get up from the ground. Kneel down. The teasing voice, like a finishing blow, came from the playful and cute Fan Ruoro's mouth. Luo Wen watched her secretly winking at him, and had to watch her next performance quietly without stopping her. It's over, it's over. Francis was in a state of anxiety, knowing that he could be spared the death penalty today, but he would definitely not be able to escape the punishment of life. Fan Ruoro is the eldest daughter in the family. Her father loves her the most. Maybe there will be another eldest brother Fan Zion in the future? Give it to me. The slender hand was probably only slightly bigger than the short stick, and the obedient Francis offered it with both hands with a look of resignation, not daring to resist at all. Wait a minute, sister, didn't you just say you would forgive me? The pity on his face and the fear in his eyes. Even Luo Wen, who was standing aside, felt deep regret and sympathy for the hardship that Francis had suffered before. Give it to me. I'm going to punish you now, because you're rude to my elder brother. But he's a bastard. Open your hands. Without waiting for Francis to say anything else, Fan Ruoro interrupted him sternly with her eyebrows slightly furrowed. Sister, you're going to hit me for an outsider? Francis. The trembling Francis buried his head deeply in dissatisfaction, but his right hand involuntarily stretched out into the air. Snap, hissed the other one. Snap. Obviously, in order to cooperate with Fan Ruoro's punishment, Francis also learned how to deal with it. That is, let the short stick fall, raise the palm slightly, so that it can't use all its strength, and then use painful screams, to pretend to be pitiful. Of course, Fan Ruoro, a weak woman, holding a short stick, that is almost as thick as her arm, can't have much lethality, especially for the punishment effect, and it's not really intended to hurt him. Chapter 398, Fan Family Tradition. Male power is weak and female power is supreme. This may be the true portrayal of the Fan family. And Francis got up and ran out of the yard with a wail. Mom. Oh, he is so shameless. He is such a big man, but he only goes to his mother to complain about everything. I don't know when he will really grow up. Humph. Fan Ruoro, who looked disappointed in her, was obviously not as vicious as Francis thought. She was just an eldest sister who cared for her good-for-nothing brother and wanted to help him grow. Such love and painstaking efforts should be the real intention behind it. Brother, I'm sorry that you saw these unpleasant things on your first day at home in Kyoto. You won't blame Francis, will you? Oh, by the way, you must be exhausted after the long journey from Danzhou, right? Come to my room and have a rest. Ruoro also has a lot to say to you. It's nothing. On the contrary, I think this kind of lively atmosphere is more interesting than that of ordinary people. Well, after not seeing each other for so many years, I should take a closer look at a little Ruoro and care about your growth experience over the years. Brother, you're making fun of me. Fan Ruoro, with a shy face, showed the side of a cute little girl again. She snuggled up to Luo Wen and stomped her feet, which was even more beautiful and charming. Gurgle. Liu Ruiu, who had left a step ahead, was now sitting in the garden pavilion drinking tea. The fragrance was everywhere, and it must be a rare good tea. As for the gift from the illegitimate son of Danzhou, she had a good impression of him before, but at this time, she put it aside. Otherwise, she clearly said that she had something urgent to do, so why was she sitting here sipping tea with a look of anticipation? Tap, tap, woo-oh, mother, look, my hands are all red, why don't you help me take a look? Oh, you did it. You did it. Mother, my son was beaten, can you please stop drinking? Wait until your father comes home, and tell him about the beating you got. Woo-oh, what's the use of telling him? It was dad who asked me to discipline me. The tear marks on her face were very clear, and Francis' voice suddenly became low as he spoke, as if he knew that it was useless to say anything about the beating he received today. Even his own mother didn't feel sorry for him, let alone his father, who was always strict with him. Life was really too difficult. Pa, what? Ruoro beat him. I heard that the people of Danzhou are tough and that Fan Zion has good martial arts. It's just right to take advantage of this conflict that happened to happen and complain to the master about his son being beaten. Regardless of whether he can be confirmed as the heir, at least the wild boy from Danzhou will no longer be valued by the master, right? compared with the good feelings that Liu Ruiyu had just developed towards Fan Zion. Of course, the vital interests of her own son, who was connected by heart, were more important. Besides, she didn't want to drive the child out of the Fan mansion directly, but just wanted him not to shake ZHE's position. Yes, mother, don't you think about it, except for my sister, who dares to beat me. Hiss, the red marks on his hands were about to disappear. Francis, who knew from a young age that the crying child gets the milk, was actually not a tiger at all. He was very good at judging the situation and pretending to be pitiful and complaining about injustice, and he was very skilled. That's not right. Didn't I transfer her out of the house a long time ago? Why did she come back so early? Liu Ruiyu had set up a series of plans for today's events. Of course, she had anticipated her own son Francis' aggressive character. It was just a matter of one day earlier or later. It would be best if she could catch up today, but if she couldn't, it didn't matter. How should I know? Woo, I don't care whether she comes back or not. Anyway, my hand hurts now. Mother. Ouch. Tut tut. Ha ha. Then what should we do? Didn't our ZHE get beaten in vain today? Liu Ruiyu then gave Francis a heartache, blowing and kneading, with a look of heartache and mistake. Mother, if you can put some silver on my hand, I won't feel pain. Oh. Pa, with your condition, how can you beat that wild boy from Dantao? Hearing Francis say such words, Liu Ruiyu turned her face instantly, raised her hand and slapped him in the sore spot, and Francis, this kid, didn't cry out in pain, nor cry for his parents. Mother, give me some silver, and I can beat him. You. My own child. I'm not angry. You are playing tricks, and you don't understand good intentions. Liu Ruiyu stared with a pair of eyes, really angry but nowhere to vent, energetic but nowhere to use. Looking at Francis in front of her, she felt even more frustrated. Music, chess, calligraphy and painting, elegant and kind. Of course, Luo Wen also skipped the previous fierce little appearance and did not associate it with the perfect image of Fan Ruoruo in his heart. Even if that was just one aspect of her character, Luo Wen would only feel that it was real, and Fan Ruoruo became more and more colorful and individual. In Fan Ruoruo's small courtyard, there are many flowers and plants that Luo Wen sent from Dantao, and they are taken care of lush and energetic one by one, and are arranged in the whole courtyard with a special ingenuity. Walking into Fan Ruoruo's boudoir, in addition to the gradually mature and attractive girl's fragrance on her body, the simple and warm pink and white tones, as well as the bookshelves, scrolls and books that can be seen everywhere, are rarely seen. Traditional toys such as women's needlework and dolls. Not only is there a rich and elegant atmosphere, but on the wooden shelf beside, there are two long swords with exquisite scabbards, tough lines, and sword energy. Together with the ambergris floating in the air in this room, it gives people a feeling of women are as good as men, and they love military uniforms instead of red macupe. Ruoruo, it seems that in addition to this reputation as the #1 talented woman in Kyoto, many young men also admire you. Brother, why are you suddenly saying this? Whether it's the piano, calligraphy, or these two sharp swords, they are all from the hands of famous masters. The charm of our Ruoruo can be seen. So it's because of this. That's right. Brother Fan Zion has had amazing observation since he was a child, and he can even infer the connection and reasons behind it from a little detail. But, will he think that I'm too materialistic and equate me with those ordinary people who covet external things? Don't think too much, Ruoruo. Others are others. No matter how Ruoruo becomes, I will always be your most loving brother. I just feel sorry for you when I think of you, a girl, living in the complicated Kyoto for these years, and having to learn and study these complicated skills. Swish, it has never been like today. Brother Fan Zion said a few words. It hasn't been long since they met. She has already lost her mind several times, and her face is hot. She is deeply moved. Fan Ruoruo can't help but panic. Brother, you are much better than Ruoruo. I want to be closer to you. Moreover, most of these gifts are actually sent by my close friends and those female book fans who are crazy about updates. What? Female book fans? Luo Wen remembered that he just sent a few novels to Fan Ruoro to relieve her boredom and worries. Some were complete books, and some were story chapters. Journey to the West, Strange Stories from a Chinese Studio, Red Mansions, and The Origin of the World that he practiced in his spare time. How is this? Oh, it turns out that I accidentally became a plagiarist and became famous in Kyoto with another identity. Ruoro, you won't tell my name to others directly, right? Aren't all these original works by me? Brother, don't worry, this is your secret. I will definitely keep it to myself. Besides, except for you, a literary master, these excellent literary works have never appeared anywhere else. How could they not be written by you? Isn't this a misunderstanding? If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 399 Fanjian. Unfortunately, the person who really rules the house in the Fan Mansion is the second concubine Liu Ruiyu. Although Fan Ruoro is quite favored, she has a wide range of friends and some assets. For example, the antiques and calligraphy in her room, if taken out to sell, would be at least tens of thousands of taels of silver. As for Luo Wen's residence in the Fan Mansion and the arrangement of his treatment and expenses, it is still under the jurisdiction of the second concubine. Luo Wen finished 2 pots of tea in Fan Ruoro's room. The sun was getting dim. The second wife of the Fan Mansion, who accepted Luo Wen's gift and was full of enthusiasm, said that she would arrange a place to live, but suddenly there was no follow-up. The dispute over the legitimate son, the inheritance of the title of Sinin Earl, the luxurious Fan Mansion, and even the assets of Fanjian, the master of the Fan family, 100 years later, are all interests that easily cause unrest in people's hearts. Luo Wen can actually understand the second concubine. After all, she is just an ordinary mistress of a wealthy family. Although he could buy a house in Kyoto or live in the property in Xinghuafang, Luo Wen still held back his temper before meeting his father Fanjian. If he wanted to experience the plot, he couldn't stay out of it and deviate from the identity of Fanjian. Russell, Master Fanjian, the master is back. He asked you to go to the study to see him. Is he here? Brother, what? Fan Ruoro was also wondering why her father came home so early today, and why the first thing he did when he came home was to summon brother Fanjian to see him. According to the cold relationship between them, they had never met for so many years. It shouldn't be like this. It's okay, I'll go there. By the way, please help me find the luggage I brought from Dantao. I may not even have a place to stay at night, so I have to stay outside your door for one night. Fan Ruoro was flustered. She looked carefully and found that there was a smile in brother Fanjian's eyes. It was actually just a joke to comfort her. Luo Wen didn't count how many courtyards there were in the Fan Mansion, but it should be counted as 7. The main house, the back house, the east wing, the west wing, the garden, the pavilions and towers. There are also archways and walkways separating them. Inside each archway wall, there is a relatively private space. For example, Fan Ruoro's small courtyard is also a standard courtyard with an area of no less than hundreds of square meters, which is much larger than the houses of ordinary people. Following the servant who led the way, through the corridor, the trail, and several archways, Luo Wen, who had a calm and gentle face, was always calm. Only in front of a few people would he show different emotions and demeanor. Besides, the person leading the way was just an ordinary young servant, not a beautiful maid with a graceful figure, so Luo Wen also had less thoughts of communicating with him. Master Fanjian, please. The master said there is no need to report. Just go in directly. He is waiting for you inside. The servant was cautious and slightly lowered his body. He led Luo Wen to the archway of the study, bowed slightly and said something before leaving. Luo Wen did not have any doubts, but just looked at the neat and serious courtyard. He wondered what the scene would be like when his father met him for the first time. Rustling, he paced and walked, his hands swaying naturally back and forth with his steps, without any so-called pretense, nor any hesitation. Click, creak, pushing open the door. The layout of the study is naturally more traditional and serious than Fan Ruoro's room, with less girlish nonsense and leisure. In the room full of bookshelves and candles, the smell is a mixture of ink and burning oil, but even stronger is a special sandalwood fragrance that is refreshing and makes people clear-headed. A man wearing a silk robe embroidered with dark patterns and traditional patterns of King Kingdom is standing next to the bookshelf with his back to Luo Wen. His hair is standing high and tied tightly on the top of his head by a metal herring, making his already strong and majestic back look even more upright. Here I come. Close the door. Turning around, Fan Jian, who is deliberately keeping calm and has a beard, is also ready to sit down at the desk casually. Why does he look so much like his mother instead of his father? There is no portrait of Yi Qingmei left, at least Luo Wen has never seen it. But for Fan Jian, that beautiful fairy who seemed to have fallen into the human world is the ultimate love that he will never let go of in his life. The key nourishing kung fu that he had maintained originally could not help but show a little strangeness. Fortunately, rustling, this boy listened to him, turned around to close the door, and did not notice the absent-mindedness on his face. Fan Jian, who was sitting on the desk, took advantage of the breath conversion to restore the calm and composed attitude of an elder. While comparing the books in his hands, he began to work at the desk. And Luo Wen stood quietly in the middle of the study, without saying a word, or he was still hesitating about how to call out the word father. At dusk, the sun sets in the west, and time keeps passing. Outside the window, it is already dark as night falls, and in the study, those burning thick candles still leave the light in this space. Are you impatient? Fan Jian, who seemed to have finally finished his work, also felt that the time was about right, and the purpose of testing Fan Jian's character had basically been achieved. Sure enough, as his mother in Dan's house said, this boy has a calm character, not arrogant or impatient, far beyond ordinary people. Fan Jian, with his peripheral vision, had actually looked at the young man who was thinking quietly with his brows down several times. The shock in his heart and the memories of the past had long since returned to normal. Oh, time is far less precious to me than my father. Luo Wen had actually rehearsed such a scene in his mind a long time ago, not from coming to this world, but from the day he first traveled through another world. Whether it was from a stranger friend, a master who learned skills from him, or a relative who appeared for no reason, Luo Wen could not hold on to the so-called principle. Of course, Luo Wen's answer here was also sincere and heartfelt. In other words, compared to a mortal like Fan Jian, Luo Wen's time is indeed much longer. Well, Zana, calling you father is beyond my expectation. I thought you were lonely and helpless since childhood, and your heart was full of resentment towards me. Whether it's hate or love, the fact has happened. Since it can't be reversed, why not learn to look forward? Luo Wen's firm eyes and Fan Jian's somewhat surprised eyes merged in the air. In addition to feeling Fan Jian's sincere love, Luo Wen didn't want to be too sharp. But in Fan Jian's eyes, Fan Jian, with clear eyes and stars flowing in his eyes, made him feel great pressure, especially the first two sentences, and the temperament of standing here quietly for an hour since dusk. All his performances have completely exceeded his expectations of a genius. Oh, well said. I underestimated you. Do you know why I brought you from Dan's house to Kyoto this time? What kind of person do you want to be in the future? Fan Jian put aside the shock in his heart and began to guide the topic in the direction he had prepared in advance. I think my thoughts are not important. It is your thoughts, father, and the thoughts of those people behind the scenes who have always been thinking about me that prompted me to go to Kyoto this time, isn't it? This kid is so insightful. How can people respond to this? At this time, Fan Jian was really shocked to the extreme, and it was even directly reflected on his face. His mouth was slightly open, and his eyes were blank, as if his brain was overloaded, and he couldn't react. Chapter 400, Night Talk in the Study. Oh, what should I do? It's been so long, and Fan Jian is still in the master's study. Father and son are connected by heart. After all, they are relatives with blood ties. The more Liu thought of Fan Jian, whom she had met before, the more she was filled with anxiety about the future. Comparing Fan Sis and Fan Jian, apart from the so-called legitimate status, She also knew it very well. She didn't need to observe carefully to understand, and it was clear at a glance who was better. Replying to Madam, Master Fan Zhan is still in the study, but there is no movement inside. This, alas, go to the front to clean up a yard. It's a blessing, not a disaster. If it's a disaster, it can't be avoided. This Fan Zhan is probably more difficult to deal with than Fan Ruoro. Ah, yes, madam. Outside, the servants and maids naturally call Liu Ruo the second wife, but when there are no outsiders in front of her, of course she learns to be smarter. Which mistress who is in charge of the house likes to be called the second wife? Your mother was a beautiful woman like a fairy in the dust. Now, you seem to be better than her. It's fate. Fan Zhan recalled the past, especially his impression of Fan Zhan's biological mother. His eyes were full of nostalgia and regret. He was deeply sad and heartbroken. He directly infected Luo Wen, who had a gentle expression on his face, and made him curious. Did the system optimize Yi Qingmei according to her genes? Forget it, forget it. Since you are so wise, I can tell you some things without worrying about it. He raised his sleeves and wiped away his tears. Obviously, Fan Zhan's love for Yi Qingmei was as deep as ever, even after nearly 18 years. Your mother was born out of nowhere, with extraordinary talent and great ambitions. Although she was a woman, she was better than the most ambitious man in the world. She knew all kinds of unique skills and improved production methods. She had advanced ideas about business and came up with countless wonderful ideas. The Yi's business she founded was already the best in the world and the center of wealth in the world. Oh, I have heard of this. Unfortunately, she died and the business she founded was also taken over by the National Treasury. It's hard to tell whether this boy's face was ruthless or extremely indifferent. Fan Zhan also seemed to react. The peerless person he mentioned was the biological mother of this child. The more he praised her, the more it hurt and suppressed this child. No, it's not the National Treasury, but the one managed by the royal family, called the Niku. Ha, Niku, you are really a master of naming, just like your own Fan Zhan, and Fancies. This plot world is really full of all kinds of funny jokes. It's just that the emperor is diligent in government affairs and the state affairs are complicated, so he doesn't have the energy to personally manage the inner treasury. Therefore, he handed the inner treasury to the hands of the eldest princess Li Yunru. A so-called inner treasury. Is it the main reason why Fan Zhan invited Fan Zhan back to Beijing? Luo Wen expressed his confusion. What's more, compared with the growing momentum of Xinghua Fang, the so-called royal inner treasury is just ordinary. Late at night, in the imperial city of Kyoto, a gorgeous and beautiful woman in a white long skirt and palace dress walked slowly and gracefully, led by a palace maid, and walked towards the Empress Dowager's residence. She is the eldest Princess Li Yunru mentioned by Fan Zhan. She has a stunning appearance and elegant temperament. In her big phoenix eyes, there is endless nobility and majesty. But at this time, she is a little anxious and uneasy, because her spies told her that Fan Zhan has already entered Beijing, and today Emperor King went out of the palace to visit the King Temple. At the same time, Fan Zhan also went into the temple to pray. Although the eldest princess is not born by your majesty's mother, she has a gentle personality, extraordinary intelligence, and is highly trusted by your majesty, and she has not yet married. In the study of Fan's mansion, Luo Wen listened to Fan Zhan talking about the royal treasury and the secrets of the royal family. Of course, he was only concerned about the general situation of the world, and the information of Xinghua Fang would only be reported to him after being summarized every month. Luo Wen has never been very interested in gossip news like these, but now that Fan Zhan, the minister of the Ministry of Revenue, has personally recounted it, he also listened with relish and did not interrupt. The eldest princess and the prime minister Lin Ruofu have a daughter. As he spoke, Fan Zhan couldn't help but look at the handsome young man who didn't say a word. He really has an extraordinary character. If it were an ordinary person, he would have shouted loudly after hearing these things, but he was not moved at all. It's rare, but I arranged this marriage for him without his knowledge. It won't cause his disgust and resentment, right? The eldest princess, who was not married, had an affair with the prime minister and gave birth to a daughter. She was actually reused by the emperor and was in charge of the money bag of the royal treasury. This was a really imaginative setting. Luo Wen had to admire the screenwriter of this TV series, and the author who was said to be adapted from the original novel. These are all royal secrets, Xana. You must not tell anyone about them. Well, I think with your personality, you will not be ignorant of the importance of things. People are pissed off when compared to others, and things are thrown away when compared to others. Thinking of his own son Fancies and this calm Fanjian really had mixed feelings in his heart, which was very complicated and uncomfortable. He just hated that he was not his own son. The daughter of the eldest princess and the prime minister is named Linwana. She is virtuous and beautiful. She is also one of the main purposes of my inviting you to Beijing this time. His Majesty has granted you a marriage contract with her. Oh, is the object of Teng Zijing's marriage in Beijing this Linwana? However, she is the daughter of the Prime Minister and the biological daughter of the eldest princess. Then, I, the illegitimate son of the Fan family, am a perfect match for her. An illegitimate daughter and an illegitimate son. It sounds like a dramatic expectation. Don't you have anything to say? Father hasn't finished speaking, so I naturally can't interrupt. Besides, a man is born between heaven and earth. How can a little love disturb my mind? Well, that's very good. I have also seen Linwana. Although she is not a fairy like your mother, she looks very similar to the eldest princess. Her temperament and talent are rare in the world. The most important thing is that only by marrying Linwana can you successfully take over the royal inner treasury founded by your mother. If it weren't for the fact that Chen Pingping and Feniji left Beijing, they would definitely stop me from acting first and reporting later. Oh, is there anything about Chen Pingping and Feniji involved here? Isn't Chen Pingping the director of the Inspection Institute, the head of the largest intelligence agency in King State? Why would he stop me, a completely unrelated illegitimate child? Haha, it turns out that Xana is not indifferent to everything. The Inspection Institute is indeed the most powerful organization in the world, and everyone knows it. But it was also founded by your mother. Chen Pingping is just a subordinate of your mother. Luo Wen finally had a puzzled expression on his face. Fanjian had finally been satisfied after observing him so far. He felt that Fanjian still had a down-to-earth side. He was not a truly heartless person. He did not become a non-human because of the 18 years of loneliness in Danzhou. In this way, he was relieved, and the guilt for the person he admired seemed to be alleviated a little. Now is the time to take back your mother's inheritance and everything that belongs to you. Come here. I have something to show you. Haha. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.